will probably be NFL rundown will probably be like a good solid 15, 20 minutes. So
We got some news though.
we got a ton of news, bro. We got Earl Thomas on the fucking
Hey,
chopping
what
block, bro.
Looking
what
for a
did, what
job.
did
He's looking for a job.
apparently he pissed off everybody in that locker room. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll get into that, but
yeah, you know Jerry Jones like to play with fire.
yep.
very true.
All right,
Well, yeah, let's go. We'll talk when we get
you guys
there.
want to go?
Yep, let's go.
All right, so episode 2, Legendary Sports Group web series, and we're starting off just with a little background, little info. Max and Baz, you can kind of go off of here. So Max, just kind of tune in, everyone who missed episode 1, on what Legendary Sports Group is, what they're about, and kind of what you want them to know.
Yeah, so Legendary Sports Group, LSG, we are sports culture. What we're trying to do is bring you guys fresh information, new information, and give our honest, our unbiased opinions on it. Both through review, we have our Instagram page going strong. We're starting our web series, and we're also doing work in the community. Obviously, back home, we have our Connecticut base, we have our Miami base, and we're looking to branch out. So we're just trying to continue to build the team, continue to build the brand, and we've been doing this sports thing all our lives. So basically, what we're doing is building a family with this LSG squad, and we're gonna keep building. We're gonna keep grinding. So, Baz.
Yeah, I would say, just so you don't gotta listen to Kidman Perkins all day. This is what those type of things. Some people with some actual insight on the sport. Different sports played. Everybody. Well, us speaking of us three have all played college sports, so this is not just some average Joes off the couch. So everybody tune in, show some support, and continue to watch us grow.
Awesome. So I think, what everyone's talking about right now, diving right into the NBA playoffs, there's a couple series that are head-to-head, couple that are already over with, but I think we start with the East here. I think we go and discuss the Bucks Magic series. Bucks up currently 3-1. And we can start with Max here. What do you think about this matchup?
We kind of knew what it was. I think with this whole series, it was a chance for the Bucks to get their feet wet with this whole restart. A lot of teams, a lot of players are coming in at different paces. They're all trying to get their team chemistry back. So although I think we said 4-0, and they lost game 1. The contest, there hasn't been really a contest. It's not surprising. Magic just don't have enough. Bucks have Giannis, so that's a big factor in that. But speaking about moving forward, we'll see how that goes in the second round versus the Heat. So, Bucks took care of business. No surprises there. It is what it is. Let's go round 2.
Yeah. What do you think, Baz?
Yeah, I think like Max said, everybody expected a sweep. Magic came out, stole game 1, but since then it hasn't really been much of a tough battle. And like Max said, they have the MVP. So with the MVP, I just think he overpowers Magic. They win 4-1, get ready for round 2, and round 2 should be a good one.
Totally agree. I agree with you guys. I think we talked about episode 1 about, I don't know how the conversation got brought up, but Giannis and Anthony Davis. I wouldn't say, similar players, but in the aspect of, Giannis makes average players great. And, granted, AD's had a couple good games the past few go at it, but, Giannis is just that dude. So I agree. I think Bucks in 5, no problem. Throw your money on it. Throw it on it. Going on, Pacers, Heat. Miami sweeped, as we all predicted. I think most of us had Miami sweeping, but Max was talking about it earlier. He's like, "Oh, the Pacers, they're trash. They're They're a garbage bag, zip tie, throw in the trash can. Guys coming to pick it up on a Tuesday morning. Pacers, not good. And
Listen.
I mean, Max, go ahead. Talk about it a little bit.
Listen, the TJ Warren, it was good energy, it was good vibes, good story coming to the bubble, especially coming back. But Jimmy had a game.
Yo, Jimmy's that dude, man. I'm telling you.
Down in Miami, Jimmy is heat culture now. They blessed him in.
Yep.
He was blessed in by the Godfather. Yes, he was.
Yeah, for sure. Took him to Star Island. You know how that gets.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I mean, Jimmy had a game circled. At the time, I'm sure he didn't know that they were going to play them in a series. And with Victor not being 100%, the whole restart happening. We're going to keep going back to the restart. I didn't think the Pacers would get swept, but I'm not surprised. Right now they're showing a great defensive squad, and that's gonna second round.
Does Bam get some Defensive Player of the Year votes?
He may. I wouldn't be surprised there. I think he's right there for that most improved. And he's definitely. I can see an All-Star berth for Bam next year. Mm-hmm. I think he's gonna.
He was there this year, right? Yeah.
Bam, no, was it?
Yeah, he was there.
Okay.
Bam and Jimmy was in the All-Star game, I think.
Yeah.
So they're gonna ride this momentum into next season. Keep building from there. They got some shooters. That lineup where they go Duncan and Hero with Bam, Jimmy. That's a 2020 NBA lineup right there.
Speaking, I don't want to cut Baz off here, but a really awesome video for everyone to watch is Tyler Hero, how he spent his first $1 million. Yo, I tell you what, I mean, you want to talk about a dude who will literally tell you everything. I mean, that video was absolutely incredible. So I don't know. I've always been a big Miami guy. I said last episode that Jimmy Butler's that dude, and he literally came into this bubble and said, "I'm not here to make friends." And he's one of the only true, like, old school players, I think, mentality wise in the NBA right now, in the sense of, I'm here to play. I'm not here to play ping pong with Jerry. I'm not here to talk to the press. I'm not here to support this or support that. Like, I'm here to play ball. And he's probably one of the only players left in the NBA that has that mentality. But
over under 50%. Jimmy gets a haircut before the second round starts.
No shot. Yo, dude, speaking of that really quick, I go to my barber he used to be on Franklin Ave in Hartford. He's in Newington now. This guy, Phil, cuts up the UConn team. So he's the UConn head barber. He's been there for 15, 20 years. And he was actually talking to me. I went last week. I'm going tomorrow, last Tuesday. And he goes, yo, who hired these NBA bubble barbers? Because there's some dudes out there that you're just like, granted, I can't talk. I know everyone's watching like this fucking bald white dude. Listen, relax, settle down. Okay. Dude, some of these haircuts I'm like, yo, like what happened here? Was that a weed whacker or were those a pair of clippers? So there needs to be some sort of barber agreement next year if this continues, because I can't stand looking at some of these haircuts.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I mean, they tried.
I'm hearing,
honestly,
in 6 weeks that they'll be able to bring their team barber in 6 weeks from the bubble start. So
and their barber's salary, $85,000. They picked 4 barbers. There was 4 barbers that got selected. And my boy was saying that they're getting $85,000 for the duration of the bubble. $85,000, 4 barbers. And I tell you what, not worth it.
Sheesh.
Oh God.
I mean, I think the Pacers Heat series is we're done talking about it. Miami, see you later. Adios. I mean, same thing here. I have a little to touch on with the 76ers, but, we can go Max first. Celtics, 76ers.
JT, Tatum is here.
With this series, I'll say it's time for something new in Philadelphia. I don't know who you want to move. This is going to be JoJo, Semo, but somebody has to go. They fired Brett Brown today, so that's the first step. I think it's time because what's going on in Philly is too sad. You got two all-stars and you're wasting their career. But to the point, Jimmy Butler did say there's a lot of things that needed to be fixed. Him and JJ Redick, they had a conversation on JJ's podcast about it. And now I'm starting to see the inside. It looks like it's some internal issues that need to be handled before they can ever become a consistent winner.
I have a question for you all.
What?
So the entire process was built on losing.
Correct.
Which is wrong. You're done. Principle, your first principle is losing. I don't care what happens.
And let's be honest, in our lifetime, it's probably the first franchise in sports to go about it this way. If you think about it. It really is. So
they had a while to do it. They let them cook. And I mean they kind of botched it.
Yep.
They had a shot at Tatum. And I mean, that big three could have been special, but it is what it is. Like Shabazz said, they're gonna have to do something. Ben Simmons was hurt, but I mean, I don't think they would have came out this series anyway. Maybe one or two games, but it was time for Brett Brown to go. One of the interviews, they asked him a question, and he's talking about the crowd. Like, are you even in the gym? What are you talking about? It's just like guys lost. Another team. I didn't think they were going to get swept, but once again, I'm not surprised at all.
And to add on that, Joel has already been on IG, posting tough loss, but on to a better future.
Talking
so
about
whatever
Yep. So all right, so you everyone knows by now, episode 2, Brian, big numbers guy. Okay. Here's what happened the past couple of years. 47 and 199. That's the win-loss record for the 76ers. They had 2 stretches of 25 straight losses. Name any other sport franchise in our lifetime that's had that. No one. We're going to tank. We're going to do this. Guess what you did in 2015? You drafted Jahlil Okafor. Who the hell drafts Jahlil Okafor? Okay. And then guess what? You traded 2 number 1 picks to Boston for Markelle Fultz. Markelle Fultz has sat, this is a true fact. You can look it up. Everyone watching the show, get ready to look it up. You drafted Markelle Fultz, okay? He sat out more games than field goals made in his 2-year tenure at Philadelphia. He sat out more games than field goals made. Are you kidding me?
Hold on, no. That is the Sixers' fault because they
100%. That's what I'm saying.
They made the worst. First off, okay, if you go Tatum, you probably should go Tatum. He was more.
They gave up Tatum. Gave up Tatum,
probably polished. He's more polished. But then you go to Markelle, who had a great college freshman year, one and done, and you say, hey, we want to change your jump shot, and you ruin his shoulder. Like, how do you have professionals making decisions that are ruining players? Like,
not only ruined his shoulder, but just shattered his confidence.
No, 100%. like he was shattered after that, and I think they just don't know what to do over there in the front office.
That franchise is an absolute shit show, and I mean, I hope the best for them, but I mean, I don't think we'll be hearing their name in contention for at least another decade or two. Yeah, so moving on. I mean, last matchup in the East, I think we got the Raptors and Nets, which we all called Raptors in 4.
Yeah. The Nets have nobody. The Nets have a G League roster.
Yeah, I mean, the Nets, I mean.
It was a good showing for Karis LeVert to get his name out there, show that, hey, I can be a piece. He ain't going to be the guy next year. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
But he could be a piece for either a trade or someone you want to keep. With Kyrie and KD, they have a bright future. I'll say that. The Nets have a bright future of the teams in the East that made the playoffs. They have a bright future. And
Absolutely.
Either for them to, they put on a couple good games showing like Karis LeVert going at it with Lillard. Like they had a couple good showings in the bubble. So I think they definitely have something to grow on.
For sure. Max, what do you think?
I think it'll be interesting what they do from here. They have a lot of players. If you just take a step back and look at their roster, Kyrie, KD, obviously, DeAndre Jordan, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, Jared Allen. I mean, that's a solid core. It'll be interesting to see how those pieces mesh, especially with Spencer and Karis needing the ball to operate. But maybe they'll have to just make that adjustment to playoff ball.
Oh, one more big thing. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
The Nets are looking to go after Pop with everything they got.
We were talking about this earlier in the group chat, and we went between Pop and then Max had what's his name, Ty
Lue's going to Philly.
Ty Lue. Yeah,
He's
I
going
can
to
see
Philly.
that. I can see that.
They got mutual interest right now.
Ty Lue in Philly.
Yeah. So we got,
I mean, let's talk about this Pop though. We don't. I mean, we're not leaning towards it, but what's the pitch to Pop when he sits down at the table and we have the front office there?
It won't be front office guys there. It'll be KD and Kyrie. That's what's in the meeting.
What's the pitch? Who starts?
We want to win.
Hold on, talking about who talks first?
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
He got 2 rings to 1. Like, chill, Kyrie. You only got 1. Let me
Relax.
talk.
Right.
Yeah, you got 1.
But
Yeah.
KD would definitely. We want to be coached by a coach that's gonna hold us accountable no matter our stature. They both need that, and at this time in their career, they need that. Like KD knows, like, man, I can't just have a walkover coach because then I'm gonna just be out here doing what I want. I need someone that's gonna hold me to greatness.
Mm-hmm.
And Pop he's one of those guys that's gonna hold them to their greatness and make them evolve and become even better. So that's why that pitch is happening.
For sure. And like I said earlier to you guys, I having the need for a player's coach, can you name a better player's coach than Pop? I mean, you want to talk about a guy that'll speak on anything. Anything. He doesn't care. Granted, age doesn't necessarily make you a player's coach. And I think that's kind of where, remember years ago when the Heat got Eric Spoelstra and he's young, he's a player's coach, nowhere near the level of coaching in terms of being there for his players and Pop. And, realistically, if you look back on those Spurs teams, there wasn't, Tim Duncan's Tim Duncan, but he wasn't that great. I mean, let's be honest. He wasn't an unbelievable top 10, top 25 NBA player of all time. And, everyone talks about those Spurs teams. I think Pop was a big part of that. He took Tony Parker, Ginobili, and Duncan, who are great talents, but he didn't really truly have, I don't even consider Tim Duncan a superstar. And that's just my opinion, but I don't consider him a top 20 or top 30 player in his position of all time. I really don't. And I don't. I don't.
Hold on.
No, I'm serious.
So I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna say I have him as the greatest power forward ever, but like general population thinks he's the greatest power forward ever. For me, I'll take I'll take Kevin Garnett.
Brian, that was borderline disrespectful. Did you say top 20 power forwards?
I'll take top. I'll. You know what? I'll put him in the top 20. That's about it. Not top 10. No shot.
Oh, top 10 all-time player? No, I can agree with you that.
Shabazz, he's talking about power forward.
No, I'm not.
I'm
Okay.
I'm talking about player.
Okay,
I'm talking about player.
Okay, for sure.
No,
okay.
I'll give him top
power forwards.
No. Maybe top 20, maybe top 30. But that Spurs 10-year run that they had, if you think about it, they never really truly had your LeBron or your MJ or your
they
Bird
haven't had that polarizing star yet, like,
no, yeah, exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make, and that's why I think Pop is a great fit because he's there for the guys. He's not there for himself.
Okay, that makes So they haven't. He's right. They haven't had that like polarizing like even today like Giannis. I would say the best power forward in the league if you put him at power forward. They never had a player that's like that, Max. Like
correct. Like when people played the Spurs, it's like, oh, we got to shut him down. Like they didn't have one of those guys.
It was more like
it was team basketball.
It was great team basketball for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he would be a great fit. I really do. But
Before we move, let's talk about these Raptors though. I don't think they get enough. Shine.
That's
Nope.
a really good basketball team.
It's a
Nope.
very solid basketball team. Now let's first off two things. Now let's say this, right? I can make the argument. I mean, maybe it's team chemistry, but right now, if you plug Kawhi back into that Raptor squad, they're better than the Clippers. Like, honestly,
yeah,
from top to bottom.
Well, of course, because Siakam he ain't going to go into a box like Paul George. I'm disappointed. Paul George is like I like him a lot, but he's been in the
we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get
dumpster.
to PG.
Jesus.
We're gonna get to PG. But first, I mean, let's shout out to the Raptors. Did what they needed to do. They're playing at a high level. Great team basketball. They got the coach over there too. Coach just won Coach of the Year.
Nurse. That's
Nurse.
Man.
Shout out to him.
When they hired him, everybody was like, "Your coach just won Coach of the Year," and he came back and he said, "Forget Coach of the Year. I'm gonna go bring you a trophy to the Six."
Shout out! They got people really playing well. Freddie Van Vliet. Obviously, you got Pascal, Lowry.
I hate Kyle Lowry, but he's a good basketball player.
You want to talk about a dude who puts his body on the floor every minute of every game.
Gotta respect it.
I think he led the league in charges like 2 of the last 3 years.
He did.
That's the first name that would come to mind if we were talking about charges. Let's highlight the president for the Raptors.
Yep.
Masai Ujiri. Recently a video came out of the incident with the cop last NBA Finals against the Warriors when they won their first NBA championship. A time in a place that's supposed to be celebrated. You know, that's pretty much some people's life work coming up to that moment. That was interrupted by a cop. His name is Alan Strickland. He's working in the Oracle Arena. So long story short, the team, it's game 6. When it becomes clear that the Raptors are going to win, they're kind of pulling away towards the end. Masai's walking down to the court. He has to maneuver his way. Obviously, they're in Golden State, so it's not his home crowd. So has to pass some guys. He's working his way to the court. He's getting ready to pull out his ID to the cop. Yeah, cop shoves him. Yeah. On the video, first time he shoves him. On the video, you can hear Masai saying, "I'm the president of the Raptors." He gets shoved again. At this point, you can kind of look at him. Just like anybody in this situation, he's like kind of rattled. He's kind of shook. Like, what's going on? So he pushes him back. That's just instincts. I'm giving it to him instincts. The cop goes to say that Masai was the aggressor and he assaulted him. And it's just like, there's so many things wrong with this story. The first thing that's wrong with this story to me is, first off, if this can happen to Masai Ujiri, who's the president of the Toronto Raptors, it can happen to anybody. And a lot of times when people don't have the backing and the power and the support, they just kind of, their story or their side of the story just kind of gets overlooked, right? And it just often just goes to the cop and they're just out of luck. The second thing is, I think we really have to highlight this cop and how comfortable he felt lying on the story in the Oracle Arena. It's not like this happened behind the scenes. It's not like this happened in the locker room. This happened near the court. Oracle Arena has to have, you guys take a guess how many cameras they had at that point.
Yeah.
So it was going to come out, body cam, arena cameras, witnesses, obviously. Shout out to Kyle Lowry for trying to get back into the mood. But at that point, it's tough, man. It's tough. And I'm really happy that footage finally came out to the public.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I know it's going to be tough for Masai, but he can kind of move on. And these situations, man, it's just tough. It's 2020. We're still going through this stuff. The president of an NBA franchise, a black male, can't even get to the court to celebrate with his team without being assaulted by a police officer. So
I think I'll touch on it next, and then Baz can finish. But You know, it just goes to show how, you know, ignorant people are. And unfortunately, it took 365 days for the video to come out, which is crazy to me.
It's crazy.
And, you know, if you kind of think about it, like in my perspective, it's like if Rick Welts, who's the president of the Golden State Warriors, if Rick Welts went out there and did the same exact thing that Masai did, is he getting shoved? No shot.
Well, I mean, to that point, Brian Windhorst came on, I think it was ESPN, and he literally said the part that frustrates him about the situation is that he was there in the arena, he was on the court.
He didn't even whip out his credentials.
Press pass. They just let him go right by. But Masai, who's at literally a higher standing than Brian Windhorst, that happens to him.
A lot higher, like, you know, that's a big ring.
Right. That's not even. That's a different weight class. Like
journalists and
that's not even.
You know, that's. But yeah, like you said, it's just like Brian said, it's just ignorance. Like I feel like if it was like he said, Rick Welts, on the other hand, we might have had a video in 2 weeks.
You are in the NBA Finals as a police officer or a cop. You have to know who Masai Ujiri is.
Yeah.
He's a fucking president. It's not like he's the fucking towel guy. He's the president of the organization. He's not the guy filling up water bottles. He's not the guy running stats in the back room. He's the president of the organization. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what absolutely boggles my mind. And we'll touch on this in a little bit. And you know, this is kind of like a small piece on, you know, what I'll touch upon in a bit. But you know, it's just very frustrating that I can have. Long story short, you know, there's been like car break-ins and shit from, you know, a bunch of dudes from Hartford coming to suburban towns and breaking into cars. I can have a Ring camera, $199 Ring camera on my front door.
Yep.
And I can have, which I have,
me too,
someone trying to break into my car. I can have that video footage available, you know, within a minute, but we have to wait 365 days for this to come out. So it just, I don't know, dude. It frustrates the fuck out of me. But
shout out to Ring though.
Shout out to Ring, dude. They crush it. I mean, if Ring can do it, you know, so could the PD down there. But
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it's fucking unbelievable.
All right.
So I think that wraps up the East. Moving on to the West, which should be a pretty good conversation because in my opinion, I kind of knew this going into it. I knew the Western battles would be battles, and I knew that we weren't going to see, you know, sweeps in the West. But I think what surprised everyone, which we'll touch upon first, is the Jazz Nuggets series. And I think this is the series. This arguably could be, you know, in the past 5 to 10 years, probably one of, you know, the most surprising first round series that there is. I mean, Jazz are up 3-1, and I mean, Max, what do you think about
it? Shout out to D Mitch, Donovan, the Don, Spider.
Don, man.
Salute to the guys who have more than one nickname.
Hold on. He is one of the 3 players that have 50 twice in one series. Other 2 guys, all timers. So
all timers, man.
All timers.
All timers.
Mike and AI, that's tough.
Me and you,
Allen Iverson and Michael Jordan, right?
Yep. Mike and AI. Yep.
Baz, me and you talked about this before. I mean, the style of play. If you had to drop a player in 2020, a young player, and you kind of just see the style, he's looking like a baby Wade, man. He's looking like a baby Wade.
I love D Wade's my favorite player ever, but Donovan Mitchell is showing the ability to shoot it from deep.
That's why I said 2020. I think D Wade could have got that in the bag.
Yeah, same thing. Like certain players will evolve, but no, D Mitch is playing out of his mind.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's just I was thinking about it today, and it just seemed like somebody must have said something to him before these playoffs, because he is in certified green light attack mode. Like none of y'all can guard me.
Not even the playoffs, bro. The whole bubble, man. The whole bubble he's been playing well.
I think
he came in great shape.
Yeah. Yep. I think he felt that pressure of people saying, oh, you know, his sophomore slump. Well, not sophomore slump, but like
His third year. Was it third year?
Yeah, so that he was having a little down year, like I had a conversation with somebody, I don't know, it might have been in a barbershop, and it was pre-corona, saying like, yeah, man, Donovan Mitchell had a great rookie year, but I haven't really seen him since,
Because
like
he's in Utah.
He's in Utah. He's in the West, like it's not glamorous.
That's and back to the point last episode when I brought up how amazing Adam Silver is and how great of a job he did with his bubble, because I tell you what, those dudes that were sitting back saying Donovan Mitchell ain't shit, that's because you never fucking watched him because he wasn't on primetime TV. Absolutely. That's the only reason you didn't say that. He's in Utah. He gets 4 to 6, maybe ESPN, TNT, late night primetime games a year on the weekends. And guess what? Now you see him almost every single night, and everyone's realizing that Donovan Mitchell is that dude, and he's legit.
And another point on that series, what is it, 3-1 right now?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not over yet. I think I got it going 7. I think the Nuggets
it's definitely not over, but I think one of my favorite parts of the series, and this just speaks to what Spider's made of. Got a shot block, and first off, I said this from the jump. I love the bubble because we can really hear and we can really see guys getting into it. Yeah. So, got a shot block. Paul Millsap looked at him a little bit. Next play, Mitch came back down, hit a tray ball. I do this shit. So it's just like that's just a mindset of battling and competing that you have since you was young. Mm-hmm. The Nuggets, they got some work to do, man. They I don't know how they slow down Donovan at this point, but
hold on. Let's shout out my guy Jamal Murray, who also
he's getting busy. He's
had 50 in that game, which is insane to lose after you. Hey, I'm dueling with Donovan 51-50, and we lose. It's tough.
Listen, to our point last week about these bubble over-unders and this bubble defense and offense, I watched the Raptors Nets game. Now, don't get me wrong. I respect the Raptors. I do. But there is no way they should touch 100 with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, bro.
Dang.
Dropped 150. It was smooth.
There was 200. What? There was 280 points scored in that game.
I don't know the total, but they had an easy.
It was 155, 122, something like that.
I think they ended with 150, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, something like that. It was insane.
150 is crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's insane.
The pace is ridiculous. It is, honestly.
That's tough.
It's crazy, but I mean, that's.
So do we think that
Jazz seal it in 6 or 7?
Jazz seal it?
Yeah, I think so. In 6 or 7. I'll give the Nuggets game 5, but I mean, I just think they seal it in 6 or 7.
Yeah, I can see. 3-1 is hard to come back. So
for sure.
Jazz,
for sure.
Send the young Nuggets home.
And going to the next series, I mean, this one surprised me because I'm very high on the Rockets. I'm very, very high on them. I've loved them pretty much all year, but Rockets Thunder tied 2-2. And,
it's 2-2 right now.
Yeah.
It's 2-2.
Thunder. This time, when everybody watches, Thunder just took that game.
Yep.
If I can start it off, I want to say I said Rockets in 6. I don't think I'm surprised. I think
Schroeder with 30.
Who? Schroeder?
Schroeder.
He had 30.
Now, okay, so what the game plan for the Rockets with Russ having this quad injury, I think the initial report was that he's gonna miss 2 games. They went up 2-0, right? Yep. And I mean the way we can't judge it from the bench, but I would assume that he's playing game 5.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you he's gonna play game 5 because in the pregame he was up getting at it with Steven Adams. So
yeah, he Russ got that edge, and we know Russ is different. I think that's that is a huge piece missing. Russ in this D'Antoni system literally
in the bubble, we might be in for something special.
Yep.
And and it's personal. It's personal. He's going to the rim. He's going to the rim. It's going to be fireworks. I'm for sure locked in Game 5. I still got the Rockets. I think
too.
the talent level is just higher for Houston.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see Russ. He's one of my favorite players, and I think, like we said last week, I think when Russ and Harden get going, it's going to be fun. Especially, hopefully, they get to the second round. I think they will.
Yep.
But that matchup is going to be special.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at the stats from that game. I don't really see how they. Harden 32, Eric Gordon 23, 21 House, 15 Covington.
Oh my god!
See, that's the thing. That the past couple games are relying on Eric Gordon to be their second leading scorer.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And that's a big issue. And back what to Max said, I think Russ is a top 5, top 10, drive and score guy in the league. I mean, can anyone stop him going to the rim when he wants to? He's probably one of the most competitive guys the NBA's seen in a while. And I think when he's got the ball in his hands, top of the key, I mean, you talk about a guy that'll drive at will, it's Russ. So
full-blown dog.
I love him.
He looks like he's ready to go. I like we said, we'll see him Game 5.
Yeah, for sure.
I still have the Rockets in 6.
Yep, me too.
Now, I'm looking at my phone, and I can't really take this any longer. The Lakers just came out. They're blitzing the Blazers right now.
Well, you know what? Let's touch on the Lakers last because I have something to say about that. But I know Baz has got a hard on over there for Luka. So let's go on to the Clippers.
Luka legend.
Luka legend. Mavs 2-2 right now against the Clippers. I mean, Baz has been waiting for this for fucking the past 6-7 days. So we'll let Baz lead this off.
Yeah, let me lead this off.
Yeah, do it.
Let's start.
Let me relax for 5 minutes.
Go crazy.
The first time I saw Luka play, he was playing against James, Russ, and Kevin Durant in their last season together. He was 15 years old, playing for Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly, maybe it was just Russ and KD, but he was playing against him, and I remember Russ drove by him, bullied him, got a layup, and then I watched the kid walk the ball up, real calm, hit that same step back 3-pointer, and I'm like, who's this kid? I looked him up, had some high regard, followed the kid, watched him EuroLeague MVP. Championship, clutch gene, and then when they say he's coming over, and then people's like, oh, the international guys, their hype always outweighs their play, and rightfully so. That's been true. But when this kid came in the league, it was just totally different. I think why he's so good, so young, his game's not based on athleticism, like. His skill and his mind for the game is tremendous. I think I've been telling people this for a while. Give me him over Giannis. I'm with it. And then I had a conversation with somebody when I told him, I said, Luka is way better than Trae Young. And they're like, way better? Trae Young averages 30. And I'm like, listen.
It's different, though. It's different.
Trae Young averaged 30. I'm not taking that away from him. He's a special player in his own right.
Yep.
But he's never going to go get you 8 rebounds a game. He can go get you 25, 7, and he's clutch. And he's 6'7", 6'8".
Nah, he about 6'8", bro.
Like
when him and Trez stood at half court, Luke is big, man.
I think, man, listen.
But Luke, not to cut you off, before you continue, right, I think the difference.
First here, you heard it here first. Luka is top 3 player in the NBA right now.
So the difference between him and Trae Young, I think Trae Young needs a system, and I think Luka is a system.
If you would have put Luka on that Atlanta Hawk team, they'll be in the bubble playoffs right now.
Bet.
Some players, I mean, you could. The talent is there for obviously all NBA players, but I mean, it's levels to it. But a player like Luka, the stat line at this point is just like unbelievable, and you close the game with that shot.
But this is the best part of the shot. I'm not going to lie to you. My guy was doing bottle flips during the timeout that he's calling the final play.
That was that timeout?
That was that timeout. So I don't need to hear what you're saying. Just give me the ball. They're going home. They're going back to these hotel rooms.
So
and they were down. They were down one. So that shot is even more important. Can we let's Brian, before you go, we need to have a conversation about Paul George because it's been bothering me. Now I think we need to now. Paul George is my guy for sure. But let's talk about it, man, because let's take a few years back. I mean, obviously, we're not going to go as far back as the gruesome injury that he had, the broken leg.
Yep.
But let's go back to his Thunder days. Now, when he was playing with the Thunder, it was always Russ who was the scapegoat. It was always Russ's fault.
Yeah.
Right? I think we need to really take a look at this. Now, Kawhi wanted to play with Paul George. He wanted to bring Paul George to Toronto. But Masai Ujiri, salute to him. He said, "We got Pascal. I'm not letting him go."
Rightfully so, though. I'm not gonna lie to you. Rightfully so. Pascal is really, really a great.
Yeah, now, yeah, of course, rightfully so. So let's get into it.
Yep.
Paul George, what are you doing? Like, what do you? At some point, you cannot have 9 points in the playoffs.
And then you can't go in the interview and say, "Hey, I do more than just score." No, we don't want to hear that. That's not why you're here.
The Clippers. See, this is why I don't feel bad for the Clippers. First off, they came in hot, talking crazy like they were champs already.
Yep.
Then in the whole back and forth with Dame, you said that not you as in Paul George. You said that the past few seasons your shoulder was messed up, but you're good now. Then you have 9 points. Or after one of the games, you come in with a whole ice pack. So it's like, wait a minute, Paul, what are we doing?
I think that problem is a deep internal mental thing that Paul George has to overcome if he wants to be, considered. Like it's getting bad now. I saw a petition for Paul George to go play overseas.
No, we're not gonna do that. I'm not gonna entertain that. So Paul, you're still my guy. I'm pulling for you. You got to get right. I still think at the end of the day, we will see the Clippers and the Lakers in the West Finals. I think the headlines as basketball and sports fans, we deserve it. I still feel like those are the best two teams in the league when running at full goal. Yep. We need to see that in the West Finals.
So look, this is what I'm gonna say. I think this series is gonna go 7.
Yeah,
I think my guy Luka's gonna. Oh, let's please also remind people that KP was not.
Did not play.
Did not play. This is Luka legend. No Porzingis. Like, I'm watching him get 30 a night on these all-world defenders, and it's kind of getting to the point where I don't know if they want to check him. Like, me, if I'm the coach, Kawhi or Paul George, I don't care how good Marcus Morris has been doing. One of them has to be on Luka. You got Bobby Smurder guarding Luka in the clutch.
You can't do that.
There's no way Reggie Jackson is gonna stop Luka. Luka got the ball. He actually really, really just was toying with his food. Like
so back to Max talking about how Paul George is his dude. There's 5 or 6 guys, I would say, in the NBA right now, 30 or over, that need a championship ASAP in order to solidify their legacy. I'll call it. There's Chris Paul. There's Paul George.
Yes.
There's James Harden. Russell Westbrook.
Facts.
Dwight Howard. And I had one more on the top of my tongue. I would say no, but listen, Howard. But there needs to be, and your boy Melo. I mean, I think that there needs to be a realization that, all those 6 dudes I just named, one of them needs a championship.
One of them needs one.
One of them needs it. And you can't play an entire career with that talent out of those 5 or 6 guys that I named and not have a championship ring on your finger. You can't.
I think it, to be honest,
I think Paul George is in that category.
For me, it comes down, I mean, being with Melo before day one, I think it just comes down to
I added Melo in there to get them all fucking fired up.
I just don't like just let Melo chill, man. Stay mellow.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to say this, Max. Max and Chris Paul.
Don't make Max cry on fucking television right now. Don't
Chris
make
Paul and Melo are all-time great losers. That's just what it is. That's what it's gonna be. That's what it is. Like some sports, like some talents, they're good losers. And I don't want to say Melo's a loser because he has Olympic golds, college championship. But as an NBA player,
you gonna say it, don't qualify the statement, man.
Listen, hey, we gotta move on. We gotta move on. We gotta move on before we get Max all fired up here because Max is about to have a fucking heart attack. He's gonna have a heart attack. I think last series, Lakers Portland, and I have a lot to say about this. So I'll let Baz go first.
Let me start.
You want me to go first, Max? Go ahead.
Yeah, let me start. I don't have too much. I mean, even though the Lakers lost the first game, game one, they've been pretty solid ever since. First off, rest in peace to Kobe. 8/24. Yesterday was his birthday.
Yep.
Man, a legend. It's not too many. It's not too many that we see like Kobe Bryant, man. Kobe
never gonna be another Kobe.
Never.
No, we won't. So,
and I would say this, not to interrupt, let you go back, Max, but my respect for Kobe grew more and more for once I got to his later years of his career. Like the admiration I have for him, because a lot of times, he was the villain, but I definitely want to say the admiration for myself grew for the being definitely later on in his career. Go ahead, Max.
I think as you get older, you appreciate the preparation that he puts into it, and the consistency. I mean, Kobe is the perfect example of when God-given talent meets God-given work ethic. Like that's why we won't. Like Brian said, we're not going to see that again. We're not going to see it again. And just it was a tragic loss, man. I still remember that day. I really do. I don't think we'll ever forget that day.
No, it's one of those days, man. It's sorry to cut you off. It's one of those days like, yo, man, like, and this is coming from for us, a basketball and fanship where we knew where we were as young as we were when 9/11 happened, right? And I'll never forget as soon as I opened my phone and I saw TMZ. I think TMZ was the first to report it.
I thought it was clickbait.
I thought it was clickbait too, and I'll never ever forget where I was when I found out that Kobe Bryant passed away. So
stuff like that is not supposed to happen.
No.
But I mean, if we can get back to the Lakers, they are my pick to win the championship. I just feel like when it really gets to it, I think that LeBron has another level he can tap into, and this bubble atmosphere.
I think it's getting his feet.
Again? Yeah.
I think definitely right now his feet getting wet.
Let's look at his stat line right now. They're in the middle of game 4. They are up.
He's got 8-2-3 right now.
8-2-3.
Yep. Yeah, Davis the leading scorer.
Okay. He dropped 38 last game. He dropped 38 last game. I think that was just to tell everybody to just relax. I'm here. We're working through this first round. I gotta calculate how we're gonna continue to advance once we get past the Blazers. And if to be honest, I'm gonna be real, right? For the Clippers, if they do meet up with the Lakers in the West Finals, I really think the Clippers are in trouble, man. I don't think they're gonna beat the Lakers. I never thought they were gonna beat the Lakers.
I think they're not gonna get to them.
Anthony Davis. I'm not gonna lie.
Anthony Davis, like you're really having bona fide.
And that's not a knock on LeBron. I think LeBron just gonna know, like Anthony Davis is gonna.
Green light. It's time, man.
Because the Lakers, this is the thing. They got to hit jump shots consistently for those two guys. But if you can hit jump shots around those two guys, like you'll see the stat lines they had last game where they both had 10+ rebounds, 6+ assists, and about 30 points each. Like that's a tough duo to beat.
And this is part of the reason why LeBron's not just going full bore. Like he knows he needs AD with him. I personally believe for the Lakers to win a championship, LeBron has to be the best player. I don't think AD is going to be the best player as long as LeBron is still in form like this.
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right. All right. So everyone,
he knows he needs Anthony Davis.
Oh,
Brian,
before-
clear out. Let's go.
Clear
Brian,
out.
do your thing.
Isolation for Brian.
ISO, bro. ISO. Everyone fucking pour a drink. Okay. So I called this in the beginning before game one. I said, and I'm going to point out, and you can go back and watch film. You can go back and watch game. I called out before the series started that this was going to be a fluff and fake a playoff series for the Lakers because of how tired Portland is. If you watch quarter 3 and 4, especially with the bigs, especially with Nurkic and especially with CJ, all those guys are playing 42 to 44 minutes a game, and they've been playing 42 to 44 minutes a game since game 1 of the bubble. And I called this in the beginning. I said the Lakers are going to come into this bubble. They're going to just fucking flop around. LeBron's going to play 28, maybe 30 minutes a game. They're going to use this bubble as kind of like a ramp up and kind of like, you know, let's get back into the swing of things. Yep. Well, they actually hit the lotto when they got the Portland Trailblazers. And I said this since day one. Granted, the Portland Trailblazers aren't an average 8 seed. They're the most tired playoff NBA team in the history of the NBA. And here's why. The Trailblazers had to play all 9 games before the playoffs like championships. And you had guys, you had Dame, you had CJ, you had Nurkic, you had all those guys playing 42-plus minutes a game. That's a lot of minutes, man. That's a lot of minutes. And you got Nurkic catching the ball, and I have the game on actually in the background, especially last game. You got him catching the ball top of the key. He's so tired. He's so lazy to the point where he's throwing up these stupid floaters. He actually threw up 10 of them in the fourth quarter last game, 10 of them, where he's not even going and driving. He's stopping mid free throw line, bro, and just throwing up fucking stupid floaters. Everyone in that team is exhausted. Absolutely exhausted.
Let's not call him lazy. He is coming back from a broken leg. That shit looks like it hurts.
100%. But if you look at quarters 1 and 2 compared to quarters 3 and 4, especially in this series, dude, Nurkic doesn't even want anything to do with the lane, and especially with CJ. I mean, you got these guys absolutely tanked. So the Lakers are winning this series based off of exhaustion, and it's such a fluff series, which is why I picked the Rockets to win series 2. The next round is because the Lakers are going to get all fired up. Yeah, you beat the Portland Trailblazers, who probably should be a 4 to 6 seed, but in reality, they're absolutely exhausted. And, you know, back to my point, I think I texted you guys about this. LeBron is handing the series off to AD. And since he's handed the series off to AD, granted, he did score, 38 the other night, but he has 8 points right now. AD's got 16. AD's outscored him in game 2 by 20 points. You got LeBron handing a series off as one of the legitimate best players in the NBA history, handing the series off, a playoff series, to AD. And I think that, to me, solidified MJ as the greatest player of all time, because MJ has never handed off a series to anyone.
I'm going to rebuttal that.
Go ahead.
Are you rebuttaling that LeBron's the greatest player ever? Is that what you rebuttaling?
No.
This series, no, he's rebuttaling me saying this series is solidifying MJ as the greatest of all time.
No. I'm just rebuttaling him handing the series off.
He is.
He is, right? But I want to touch on the reason why he's doing it.
Because he's not the best player of all time. Okay,
I'm not arguing that.
No, that's the only point I was trying to make is all these young cats on the LeBron train. MJ and this is going back off of what we were talking about, Kendrick Perkins saying that, MJ never played in an NBA playoffs at 35. Shut the fuck up. All right, so going back based off of that, MJ I think he went like 31, 35, 38, 37, something crazy like that in the first round series at the age of 35. MJ never handed off a series to Pippen ever in their 6 rings ever. So LeBron is go ahead.
Let's just kind of spotlight the situation.
Yep.
Right. You're right. He never handed off you done?
Yeah, no, we're good.
He never handed off a series to Scottie. He never intended to. That was never gonna happen, right?
Yep.
But let's just look at the situation now. This is Anthony Davis's first season with the Lakers, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
They're coming. Season got cut short. They probably didn't have all their chemistry. Going into the break.
No, the Lakers are on fire going to the break.
But at the end of the day, them coming back, you still need to make sure your guy is right. I think LeBron is self-aware enough. Now, I'm not saying Jordan got it. I'm just trying to provide a reason. That's all I'm trying to do.
No, dude, 100%. I think LeBron is easily
LeBron
the second best player of all time.
I think LeBron feels like
I'm with that.
if I want to win this championship in this bubble, I have to get my guy AD right before we continue. Because Houston, ain't no gas, ain't no foot off the gas. I'm going.
100%.
You're going to have to go with me.
100%.
I'm trying to get you right for the second round because I can't chill like I can versus Portland. I'm going. I'm going. That's it.
I can respect that, but I do for the legendary. I have several followers who are LeBraniacs, what I call them. Like they're just gonna go nuts on LeBron. They not objective at all. Like one of them, I'm gonna shout him out specifically is Marcus Marshall. He's one that is typical. He's all out. He's gonna tell me, what do you mean? LeBron did this? Look at what he's doing. He's not gonna be objective. I just want people to understand.
And let's go back to this really quick for Marshall, just to shout out Marshall. If you can go back, Marshall, hopefully you're listening. Find an NBA Finals where MJ lost, and if you can send that film to me where MJ lost an NBA Finals, I would love to review it. I'd love to look at it. We can go back and forth on this, but if you can send me an NBA Finals, Marshall, where MJ did lose, that'd be great to watch. So, Marsh, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to have my fucking drink now, Marshall.
Marsh, he says.
I mean, listen, LeBron loses, bro. LeBron loses. MJ has never lost. Ever. Ever.
Okay.
Ever.
We got that. Let's move on.
All right, let's move on. So,
LeBron,
all right. So
you had the Lakers losing in the second round to the Rockets?
I have the Lakers losing to the Rockets in the second round just because, like I said, dude, you're playing a Portland team that's exhausted, bro. The fourth quarter, I mean, you might as well shut the game off because these guys can't even fucking breathe, let alone play basketball.
You think the Lakers at full go?
This is a fluff series for the Lakers. Absolute fluff.
I'm gonna just go ahead and disagree with you. I got the Lakers, but okay.
Against the Rockets.
No. You can disagree with me against the Lakers versus Rockets, but no one can disagree on the simple fact that this is a fluff series for the Lakers, and Portland is absolutely exhausted.
I move past that.
Yeah.
Baz, what'd you have for that? What'd you have for the second round?
I got Lakers. I think I'm just gonna say this. AD is a mismatch nightmare.
He's gonna have a field day.
Like you can do that. Y'all can play small ball, but when you can play, your five can be Anthony Davis at the 5 in small ball.
Yeah,
that's a different ball game. Playing LeBron at the 4, like
running the bird.
Like it's a lot of different matchup problems for the Rockets. Yep. But Russ and Harden, that could be a classic series. That's what I will say.
For sure,
be a classic.
So I think leading off this, we were talking about earlier. I mean, we don't have to spend too much time on it, but because I think everyone has relative top one or two. But let's go off, the NBA let's do our top 3 each under 25 years old. Mm-hmm. So let's go under 25. So 25 and older does not count. They have to be 24 or under. Mm-hmm. So your top 3 in the NBA right now under 25. Baz, what do you got?
Luka. But no, in seriousness, I'll say I got Luka, Booker, Tatum.
Yep.
I think those are the 3 best players under 25. Don't get me wrong. This list, you can put one player here, one player there. That this list is a good list. I think the NBA is in great hands. And I only think the young stars versus the younger stars is only going to keep getting better because guys like Ja Morant, Zion, and then, the draft coming up, LaMelo's coming in, Anthony Edwards. These guys are like, kids are coming in the league more pro ready more than ever at this point in time of the 2020. So I think, the young stars in the NBA are coming in and they're ready to make some noise and shake the room.
For sure. Max, who you got? Top 3 under 25. Giannis does not count.
I'm gonna go Luka 1, Tatum 2, and Booker 3. I think Luka's pretty clear at this point. I think it was clear before the playoffs. I'm a big Jason Tatum fan. I have been since Duke. What I respect about Tatum, first off, like Shabazz said, none of these young guys have any fear with anything. They're competing. They're going after it. They're getting after it.
Tatum dunked on Brown year 1. Let him know.
Year 1. I was getting to it. Year 1.
Yep.
Chest bump afterwards. I'm here. What's up?
Yep.
And I mean, before that point, I was watching Tatum. I mean, you know, Brian, you know our Massachusetts audience loves the Celtics. So I know they're on fire right now, and they're loving Tatum and Brown and Kemba. Shout out to Cardiac. You know how that gets. That's for the But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna come back to Tatum. Salute the Celtics. I hope they get into their rhythm going into the second round.
Yep.
I'm sure they will. These second round playoffs are gonna be fun. But back to the under 25. I think the league is in great hands. I think Luka is really at the forefront of it. I think he's doing his thing. I think people are realizing he's tougher to cover than he looks, right? So we know he's not the fastest. He's not the strongest, the shiftiest, but he is shifty for his size. And I don't think people realize how big he is until they kind of get in front of him. And he's just a tough cover for multiple different positions. Tatum, I hold him in the same regard as that score bag, that Paul Pierce, that mellow bag. He has a lot of skill to be so young.
Let's not talk about Pierce, please.
Okay, you don't like Pierce. Cool. But Jason Tatum is the real deal. He's not going anywhere.
Nope.
I am going to love this Boston and Toronto series. He's going to have defenders flying at him. OG, Pascal. We're going to see what's up with him.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting for Tatum, but he's not backing down. He knows what this moment means. And to be honest, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on record. No disrespect to the Heat. I'm down here in Miami. No disrespect to the Heat, but I got the Celtics coming out the East. I really do. That's my pick in the East. I think Tatum and I think Jaylen Brown is hungry enough to want that respect across the league. And I think starting next year, he's gonna just be in that all-star talk along with his running mate Tatum, and Kemba. So
100%.
And then Booker, I think Booker. Us three, we know what Devin Booker is about since Kentucky. He's always been a bucket. He gets to it. The skill level at that position, it reminds us of Kobe, honestly.
He's one of those. I call him the Mamba clones. You know, those guys that was seeking tutelage from Mamba late.
Yeah.
Kyrie, Buck,
and most importantly, he got Kobe's respect.
Yeah.
So if Kobe's gonna give that to him, I think we owe it to him.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think Devin Booker. I think it's another player that is a franchise. If he's in a different situation, we're looking at Devin Booker in a totally different light.
Let's also talk. I think they're in the playoffs. If DeAndre Ayton's not suspended for 25 games,
right,
making bad decisions, that's a big part of people don't remember that he played without his second best player for 25 games.
25 games.
Yep.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Phoenix does moving forward.
Go be aggressive. Go get somebody for Book.
Dre got fined $50,000 for tampering. But I think if Phoenix
Draymond
really
needs to relax, he doesn't even have that much money to be getting charged with tampering. Like he's gonna be out of a job soon if he doesn't improve his game. I'm just gonna say that about Draymond Green.
Well, he has the bread. He does. But to your point, he doesn't want to lose that bread. But I got a whole different theory on that situation out there. I don't, Brian. I don't. Let's come back to it
episode
right after this.
Yeah. Let's say that.
I mean, listen, my top three is literally the same as Max, and I think I owe everyone an apology. Last episode, I said European players can't lead teams to championships, but even though I am apologizing for that statement, I never ever said Luka wasn't that dude. I've always loved Luka, and I think what's special about him is the fact he is. Let's just imagine LeBron born in Germany or France and transformed into Luka, but Luka's a 10-time better shooter than LeBron will ever be. That is my kind of
40, 50, 90 type of guy, Max. 50, 40, 90. You feel me? That's what I'm just going to say.
Right? So
Bron can't do that. Bron is the second greatest player ever, but Bron will never
Listen, and here's another reason why LeBron will never be the best player of all time. No best player of all time should be under 80% from the free throw line. I don't care how good you are, how big you are.
Favorite player or not?
Listen, he's my
objective. You gotta love him being objective.
Listen, I'm the biggest LeBron fan anyone that will listen to this podcast, this video will ever see.
Hold on.
The best player of all time is under 80% from the free throw line.
Tough love, he says. Tough love.
Tough love, bro. Dude, I'm telling you right now, bro. Give me a basketball. Bring me to a fucking basketball court. I'll make 7 to 10 from the free throw line.
Don't lie to these people.
Yeah, I will. I swear to God, I will. You know what, Max? When you're home, I got a court down the street. We're going to the court down the street.
Brian, you're not making 7 out of 10. I'll give you 3.
3.
30%?
30%?
Yes.
Dude,
easy.
Bro.
Hey, I think we might have to put that. We have to go to that court, shoot the percentage shots from all the spots on the floor.
You're not making 7 out of 10, Brian.
And post the highest percentage of the legend.
Maxwell.
For sure. I'm the highest percentage. For sure.
All right. Let's stop talking about mediocre basketball players playing. That just goes into my point is you're talking about greatest players of all time, and no one's talking about LeBron's free throw percentage, which is absolutely horrendous. Anyways, back to my point about Luka. He's a player like Baz said in episode 1 that the NBA has never ever seen before. You can compare him, you can try to say that he's like him or he's like him, but no one's ever seen anything like Luka. And the fact that the other night he had 17, 18 assists the other night, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his teammates off of passes shot 33%. So from Luka's teammates shooting 33% that he passed his attempted assists to, if you bring the NBA max up to say 45, 46%, he would have had almost 30 assists that game, which is something that like they were talking about a little bit on ESPN, but if his dudes like made a decent amount of shots, we're talking of 25 to 30 assists night plus all those points. So I don't think the NBA has ever seen anything like Luka. So he's obviously number one. And back to, talking about Book, I mean, I think that this bubble is probably the best thing that's happened to his career. Here we go. I don't. So this NBA bubble, I think, is gonna get Book more money in the future, and I think that this is kind of put him on the map in the sense where, Phoenix is kind of like no one watches the Arizona Cardinals, no one watches the Phoenix Suns, and no one's ever watched them because they're in that type of media market. Where now everyone's like, oh man, who's this Devin Booker guy? He's the real deal. So I think I have him in there, and kind of talking quick on NBA ratings, which, a lot of people don't really, look into, but I think it's something to definitely bring up, especially with, Legendary Sports Group's whole, philosophy on, touching base on stuff like this is the NBA TV ratings are taking a plummet, and they're taking a plummet since 2016.
Talk about it.
Which is which is something to really think deep upon, where you're looking at the average NBA playoff game right now having just about 1 million viewers per game, which is insane because everyone's home. No one has anything else to do. So you're talking about a 2.2 million viewership per game NBA playoff rating in 2019 to just over 1 million. So over 50% cut over a year, and it's been dramatically increasing ever since 2016. And you may be asking yourself at home, like, what happened in 2016? Well, Colin Kaepernick took his first knee in 2016, and that's when the sports culture, the sports world really dived into, social injustice. And I think that, Cap taking a knee really showed how fucked up the United States of America truly is, because your average sports fan doesn't want to deal with that, doesn't want to face that, doesn't want to confront that, doesn't want to learn about that, doesn't want to, to dive into that.
That's a great point.
All they want to do is watch sports. All they want to do is bet on these guys. All they want to do is play fantasy football, play fantasy basketball, who can score more points for them, because that financially makes more money for them. And I think that's truly the reason why NBA viewership is down, because ever since Adam Silver a couple years ago really took the reins and said, listen, here's what I'm going to do. You guys do your thing. I'm going to let you use your platform. I'm going to let you talk about whatever you want. I'm going to let you confront whatever issues you want to confront. NBA bubble. You want to put, Black Lives Matter stuff in the back of your jersey. You want to put his name on the back of your jersey. Go ahead. So I think that, aspect of sports viewership shows how fucked up our country is, because your average white fan who is white doesn't want to accept that and doesn't want to deal with that, where the NFL, Roger Goodell, in my opinion, has been absolutely horrendous. Making NFL owners feel like owners, where I own him.
Absolutely.
Jerry Jones, perfect example. Absolutely fucking hate Jerry Jones. Never liked him. And it just goes to show the past couple of years where he won't even let players speak upon anything, let alone voice their opinion. So,
I think I actually read they put special language
in the contracts
that they can't, by contractual obligations, talk on certain things. And that right there, like Brian said, is a prime example of feeling like you own somebody. Like the Texans owner, like, when you let it will be like letting the prisoners run the asylum. Like, he said that out his own mouth. Like, so you can only imagine his beliefs. We don't even have to get into his beliefs. We can just tell somebody's character from their certain statements. Like, those are statements that I don't care what color you are, certain things are just not right to say about a other human. I don't care what skin, orange, black, brown, white, it doesn't matter.
Totally. And I think that's truly why, the viewership in the NBA is down. The majority of black NBA players majority of the NBA players are black. And I think that, like I said, your average sports fan statistically is over 80% white. So you really dive into like what's truly wrong with the United States and what's truly wrong with everyone's upbringing and everyone's, I don't want to really get into it, but parenting, in the sense where, white, I'm going to stick with the NFL because they ran Cap out of the league. They don't really believe in, letting players speak up on this. I just want to watch football. I just want to bet on these dudes who are making me money. And the Adam Silver literally 180 is a literally 180 version of Roger Goodell. And I think that's why I love him. And that's why we love him. And that's why a majority of America hates him, is because, he's essentially given the NBA the biggest platform ever in sports.
Ever. Seriously. Like, just to think of just an aspect, like Black Lives Matter is on the court. Like,
on the court.
Adam Silver, he said, I don't care about viewership.
Hey,
I have to stand up for the people that are making my business the best.
Yep.
And that's why in episode 1, I highlighted Adam Silver, because
you did
stepped up to a whole different level. Like, the messages on the jerseys, the messages are on the court, the messages are on the virtual boards. Like, on the bottom of the virtual fan board, it says Black Lives Matter. Like, he took a huge stand, and he got slandered by a lot of,
for sure,
other people about, maybe you should keep it more basketball. And he said, that's not my biggest issue. I'm worried about. My biggest issue is these players, these humans that I have genuine relationships. Like, I believe he has genuine relationships with these players because he's trying to make the league the best he can for them.
100%.
It's not about a check for him. Like Roger Goodell makes more than almost every NFL player.
Mm-hmm. He does.
And what can he say he really does, or what can we say? Hey, I saw Commissioner Goodell doing this. Like
he came out. So a couple
Go ahead,
things.
Max. Go ahead.
Goodell came out the other day and said that he really dropped the ball and missing his opportunity to speak to Cap. I mean, it's of course, obviously you did, right? That conversation, that discussion, that should have been held years ago. But before I even get into the NBA point, rest in peace to Breonna Taylor. We need justice at this point. It's getting ridiculous.
Arrest her cops. Arrest her cops.
So let's really get into Adam Silver. Salute. We talk about sacrifice, right? This is the definition of sacrifice. Brian just broke down those numbers. He broke down the viewers. He put his players and his product first. You don't do that if you don't do that if you value the money over the people. You do that when you truly have feelings, love, and respect for the people that you work with.
It's bigger than a logo for him.
Salute to Adam Silver because he is allowing our culture to move forward and educate each other. You can't put no price tag on that. You're giving young black guys the voice that would have never felt comfortable before. You can just compare it like we're talking about. Compare it to the NFL, right? You're giving these players who already have platforms. Their faces are consistently on TV. I highlighted Jaylen Brown last week.
Yeah.
Maybe he would eventually got to something, but we all know once you get green lighted for something and somebody who's backing you tells you to go ahead, you feel a little bit more comfortable in doing so.
Absolutely.
So I just really feel like he's helping the culture move forward. At this point, I think we really have to take a break, and I think I really respect the NBA players for going into their own lanes and seeing how they can help the world just continue to improve and become a better place. We had a situation today where another black male was shot by cops. More information will come out about that, but it's just like we're in 2020. When is this stuff going to stop? And I believe, Brian, I think you said it previously, like this stuff has always been going on. Now we just have cameras everywhere. So more stuff is getting caught.
Yeah. I mean, Will, I think I first heard that with Will Smith. He said, racism has always existed. It's just getting filmed now. So he brought up and that's kind of what hit me, is the fact that, this isn't new, and I mean, you guys can touch upon it, but I just think that this has been going on forever. And I also, I touch upon it a little bit in episode 1, where from my standpoint, it's been more the past 5-6 months, like, learning and taking everything in and, reading as much as I can and evolving. But there was a quote, I forgot who posted it, but there's this like little old white lady, and she probably said something that's, should be heard around the world, where, racism is learned, but racism can also be unlearned. So it's just tough for me to talk about for a while, but I think you guys are, more apt to touch on that.
And I think like we're discussing, I think Adam Silver is doing his part, and these NBA players, shout out to the leaders, and shout out to everybody speaking up, having a voice. Even things like this, Legendary Sports Group, we're doing our part. Absolutely. To help further the culture. I think at this point we just have to keep moving forward, keep fighting, and keep progressing from here.
For sure.
So.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess that's kind of why, and how I, kind of why I brought it up is because, it truly, if you look at the ratings, just the ratings alone goes to show you how fucked up our country is.
Yep.
You know, people want to, you know, just watch sports and they don't really care about anything else. And
Yeah, they don't care about the people. They just care about
they don't care about the people, man. I mean, it's sad and it's unfortunate, but that's kind of the, you know, what we're living in right now. And, you know, back to episode 1, that's why Baz picked Adam Silver as someone that's kind of changing not only basketball, but kind of, you know, changing the media in a sense. You know, if that kind of, you know, correlates with this, is he's changing the way his players are allowed to interact with the media.
Exactly.
Unlike any other sport we've ever seen before, unlike any other time we've ever seen before.
Exactly. Even with prior, like David Stern wanted to kind of give the business, hey, you guys dress up in suits even though you're gonna play basketball. Like Adam Silver kind of said, listen, I understand y'all are all individuals, so I'm gonna let you guys be individuals to the max. I'm gonna support you to the max. And I think that right there has made the NBA, like NFL NBA for me was like hand in hand, but now it's like Roger Goodell has made me look at the NFL just more as it's a business. Like it's not, you know, like he's not supporting, like some of his best players have spoken out about, you know, just Black Lives Matter situations, and like he has never put a firm stance on it. Like, yeah, he sent out the memo of the NFL supports. No, I want to see your voice. I want to see you put your face to it. Like I've seen Adam Silver like in a rally. Like that is just a dip, and like he needs to step up as someone as, especially football in our country, which is one of the most influential sports, as him being the head of the Shield. He needs to understand what Adam Silver is doing, which is it's bigger than the logo for us. Roger Goodell makes it. He's actually sent out a memo like, you know, we must protect the Shield at all costs. Like, no, like you need to understand, like there's life outside of the Shield.
Mm-hmm. And you know, and then we'll move on, like one or two more thoughts. But if you think about it, since Adam Silver took over, you hear more about the NBA Players Association than you do any other sport. You know, like just like the NFLPA, you know, you can talk about the NHL, the MLB, and you know, the players have a voice in the NBA, and I truly don't think, no matter how great people are, no matter how great teams are, that anyone in the NFL truly has a say in how things are evolving or how things are being run. In the NBA, and Adam Silver are, you know, the only people that can say that they've made a change in that area.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, plenty more to talk about next week for the NBA. But I think, you know, just touching base, you know, quickly on the state of college football, you know, there's a little bit of news, but I think we should address it at least for a little bit. So Max, you want to go ahead, state of college football?
Man, I'm hurt, man. For the people who know me, y'all know I rock with the Ohio State Buckeyes. My guy Okudah, Seda Hefe Okudah, put out a tweet. I believe it was maybe a week and a half ago.
Can we get past this Ohio State rough job? Like there's other college football teams that are.
Yeah, Max. There's only like 133 of them.
I'm not talking about that, man. Let head of the Big Ten, the flagship conference that's not playing. Okay. So we got to get to this.
Let me give you
What's
a little.
The flagship conference that is playing?
Brian, go ahead.
So I was gonna. Yo, Max, relax, man.
No, he tried to catch me. I almost. Go ahead, Brian.
No, nothing. So yeah, I was just gonna talk about, like, you know, barbers in Miami and shit like that, how they're not doing a good job. But what I really wanted.
Brian always gets into this barber bag.
Always, man. Always.
Hey,
no, so
one tool.
All right, relax. Come back to the kid. So what? No, but speaking upon Vegas, and you know, I'm a big numbers guy. Ohio State, if they were to play the big SEC teams this year, so if college football did happen, they were on average no less than 10.5 points a game. So they were favorites to beat every single SEC
Bama, what's up?
powerhouse by 2 scores.
LSU, what's up?
Big cap. That's the
And-
biggest
No
cap
cap.
ever.
And listen, I've I haven't said it here, but I've been talking about the decline in the SEC for a while.
Oh no, we're not about to do this SEC slander.
100%.
No way.
100%.
No way.
So
Yeah,
I don't. I still
I'm not
think.
co-signing
Listen.
this.
Let me
I'm
finish.
not
Let me
co-signing
finish.
this.
Let me finish. I still think they're. Cheers. I still think they. Oh, who's that? How you doing? How you doing? I still think that obviously they're the powerhouse conference. However, I don't think the SEC is the same, and I don't think it'll ever be the same ever again. So that's just my personal thought on it. I mean, I do have numbers to back it up, but we don't have that much time. So
do we really
we'll go
have
on to
numbers
Baz
to
because
back it up?
Baz's hair is getting a little fucking frizzy over there.
That said, we have all the time in the world. He wants to
So
hear.
let me talk about this so-called SEC decline. Right?
Let's talk about it.
We got Ohio State. We got Clemson.
Yep.
Who else out? Oklahoma. Who else out there?
Okay. No,
Right.
for
right?
sure.
So then you get to the SEC, right?
Yep. Give me 3.
LSU, Georgia, Alabama. There's your 3 right there, right?
Okay.
Every year, every single year that you can't tell me that you're gonna go find me 3 better teams in another conference.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, top to bottom, I guess, but I don't know because when the NFL Combine comes around, those guys are still everybody's from the SEC. The numbers just keep increasing, so I don't understand how the talent or the production has.
Brian,
off.
what give us? Okay, you don't got to go through all the numbers, but give us something.
Okay, so let's just take the past, let's just say 15 years. Who's the SEC powerhouse?
Okay.
Bama.
Okay. And
Florida.
no, Bama, 100%,
Oh,
100%, Bama,
overall, we all know.
100%. Everyone knows Bama. So everyone who.
Okay, so let me interrupt you. So are you telling me? I've heard this theory before. Nick Saban has ruined college football. Is that what?
No, not at all. In fact, I think Nick Saban, when he retires, should be a part of either the head of the SEC or he should be a part of college football in on the board.
I'm with that.
What my whole philosophy is, and this is kind of speaking on episode 1, like the book I'm writing is I'm not just necessarily talking about the SEC. I'm kind of talking about college football in general. And when college football in general is declining, the SEC is declining. Alabama's been declining for 5 to 7 years, and stats say it. They've been declining for a long time. They've been a powerhouse. I would say they were,
Whoa.
my facts may be wrong, but they were a favorite in the SEC championship along with college football championship for double digits. They haven't been a double-digit favorite in any championship game in over 8 years. So I think that Vegas is kind of understanding that. I think that college football in general is declining, which is making the SEC decline. And, I think that in the next 5-10 years, maybe, college football is going to have a lot more level playing field because, 5 to 7 years ago, no one was really talking about the ACC. No one was talking about the Big Ten. No one. And if you can find someone that was, I'd love to see it. But the SEC was always the dominant conference. And I think that with college football declining overall, there's going to be a lot more a level playing field in the future.
Let me hear some reasons why college football may be declining. Because I have some thoughts.
So I touched base a little bit on this before, but I think that I don't want to say it's going to come out soon, but within the next couple of years, I'm going to publish a book, How Junior Seau Ruined Football. And we're seeing this decline across the country with, the new concussion protocols and, families and parents not letting their kids play football until a later age or not letting them play at all. We're seeing tackle football ages increase, not just in the Northeast, but also down South in the Midwest.
So you're saying it's trickling up.
I'm saying it. Yeah, I'm saying we're finally starting to see the decline of talent. And if you compare the NFL to the NBA, talent-wise, coming out, you're seeing a way, and don't shake your head, you're seeing a way higher talent level come out the
No,
past 5 years.
I'm shaking my head because I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. You're
Like, people
seeing a
are getting
way
drafted
higher talent
in the
level
NBA
come out in
ready
the
to go.
NBA the past 5 years than you are the NFL.
They
You know,
don't.
if you take out Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, you're seeing a way higher talent level in the NBA compared to the NFL because of all these new concussion protocols, parents seeing that football's unfit, the new concussion science data that's coming out where, oh, well, you know, when your kid's 35, they're not going to be able to walk in a straight line. So I truly believe that Junior Seau, you know, rest in peace, ruined the game of football. And I think it's going to be a different game than we knew it, especially when we played against each other in high school. That it's going to be an entirely different game when our kids are playing. And it's not going to be like anything we've seen. And that's where I see the decline of college athletics in general, but especially in college football.
So let me interject and rebuttal that.
Yep, go ahead.
I can see your points as far as some of like the age of kids playing, and I also would see a big part of it is coaching. There's not a lot of good football coaches, especially me coaching at the high school level. Like I'm going into year 6 of coaching high school football.
Salute.
And I've already know like a lot of those old school guys they're not willing to adapt. That's why Nick Saban is the greatest college coach ever, because he was willing to adapt.
100%.
8 years ago, we
100%.
was the I formation, get a back, Ingram, Heisman winning running backs, to now where we are high flying spread offense where we recruiting 3 to 5-star receivers every year. So I don't think that Alabama's or college football has decreased. I think that, and I also don't think the talent. I think the kids are coming in more ready than ever. Like you're seeing freshman receivers. Like I remember Jerry Jeudy came into college football and he was 1,000-yard receiver fresh out of high school because of the major thing that has changed with college football, which a lot of people don't understand, is the early enrollees. Like these guys that are leaving for 3 years and done, let's call it that, 3 and done. These guys are literally probably already in school a half semester when they should still be in high school at their colleges. So I think that's the advancement you see in these programs such as Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma. That's my big 4 in college football right now. LSU, they won a championship. Congratulations. I'm not really an LSU guy. Let's just talk, you know, like they had a great season. Congratulations, but it's over. It's done. I think in college football, like to your point, I think there is more purity. I think when we were young in high school, like those Tim Tebow's Florida teams or the Reggie Bush and Matt Lyon at USC teams, like
Pac-12 is over.
Are stacked top to bottom. But now there's those, you'll never see college teams stacked like that except these top 4s. And I think it's because more kids are willing to step outside the box of go outside of, like, think about it. Like USC was a powerhouse 10 years ago. We haven't seen them since, you know, like I think also the powerhouses are changing, and like, even in Florida, like we haven't seen a great Florida since Tebow. Like Florida State won a championship, but we're not talking about Florida State. They're dismal now. Like just within I think the coaches are what is making college football different now, because these coaches, once they leave a program, it takes a while for them to get back running.
For sure. And you know, I think those are great points. I think that, you know, especially in, like I said, the high school and youth level is, you know, my buddies who coach in New York, Connecticut, Maine, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, there's not a lot of JV in freshman teams anymore. You know, there's not a lot of guys. So that, and that's been happening the past couple of years where, 100%. You know, there's not a lot of really guys coming out. There's really varsity teams. That's it in high school football. And you're starting to see that shift in the Midwest. I'm from Chicago. I was born and raised in Chicago. And it's even happening out there where, you know, there used to be tryouts, and there used to be, you know, guys, you know, bleeding for spots to be on the freshman and JV teams. And now it's like, yo, let's scrap up a dude in the lunchroom. And that's going on, you know, throughout the country. So I think that is a huge, huge reason
I agree.
why you're going to see, especially, you know, you're starting to see it now, but in the coming years, especially in the sport of football, where there's going to be a huge decline in that. Also, speaking on the behalf of, people becoming more aware of their financial standpoint, where years ago you had a stud, a high school football player stud, where they knew they had to go to Bama, they knew they had to go to USC or Florida or Ohio State, and now you know you see a ton of guys that are making an impact in the league coming from scrub schools. You see a lot of guys who go the academic route in the sense of money has been more of of a subject, and finance has been more of a talked about field
Being
this past couple years than before. So you have a lot of stud guys now who are more educated in the sense of, I don't need to go to Bama. I don't need to go to LSU or Florida or Ohio State. I can go wherever the fuck I want to go. And I know that if I have a great education and I learn from a great a coaching staff and a great teacher, professor, I know I can set myself up, because I'm watching all these dudes coming to the league making a difference that played for basketball schools, that played for volleyball schools, where you don't need to go to a powerhouse anymore. And that's one of the talking points I made in my book, where, Junior Seau, kind of made that route in the sense of, parents letting their kids play multiple sports, excluding football, in the sense of, I want you to get a good education because football is not the answer. And I think that we're starting to see that. And I think we're going to continue to see that.
Just to piggyback on that, especially me coaching, I definitely would say the JV freshman thing. Like, I remember, like, that was really, like, you knew, like, okay, if I do good on freshman team, I might get called up to JV, and then, I can move up the – like you said, now kids are just coming into high school, like I would say for me last year, one of my best players was – for the last couple of years, my best players have been, like, I've gotten a stud freshman who – is advanced, and they don't get the time, they don't get the luxury of, like, playing JV, having fun. Like me and Max, like, I remember, like, getting up early on them Saturday mornings to go play JV with the freshmen and the sophomores, like, and it was a thing. Like, now these freshmen are coming in high school, like, yo, you gotta be a playmaker. You gotta, if you're gonna play, like, there's no in between no more. Like, you might be able to, like, and that's tougher on the development. Especially for me as a coach, that's the toughest part. Is when you have a young kid, he still has to develop, even though you put him in a role where it's time to play.
I think that kind of goes back to our talk about the spotlight and what these kids are kind of dealing with, right? We just spoke about them coming in, freshmen. You got to think about how old you are as a freshman, 13, 14 years old.
Yeah. My best player, he was 13 years old last year.
That's crazy. Having to compete against varsity seniors, 16, 17 years old. That's a big difference. But there's, like you said, there's no time for it. They don't get the sense of development with the pressure of recruiting, the pressure of, you have to do this, you have to do that, social media. I gotta get this look. I gotta get my highlight tape popping. These people got to make sure I'm nice. Like, it's a lot of stuff going into it. I think at the end of the day, Shabazz, salute to you. I think, and Brian, salute to you, your guys. I think it's on the coaches and the adults in the situation to kind of slow stuff down. Listen. Don't let these outside sources,
noise,
parents and family and friends, relax. Let's take a step. Although we may not have time, the freshman and JV teams, we still have to focus on development in the time that we have.
Exactly.
Like, we're setting these kids up for failure if we're trying to give them spotlight that a 16-year-old should have at 13. It doesn't even, if you break it down and really think about it in human development, it doesn't make sense. So at the end of the day, I think the majority of it falls on us as not only football, all sports. This is why these, once again, shout out to Impact. This is why these things, Impact in Connecticut, Chris Prescott, salute. You guys are doing a great job. These things that are in place for the youth to have that development,
Shout out
gain
Supreme Athlete as
skill,
well.
because once again, it's in 2020, what I've noticed at least is you're expected to go
It's the
from
difference. It's
middle school to high school star, and that's just not how development works.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it's not fair for those players. Once again, we're setting kids up for failure. I think we really just have to kind of take a step, slow down, and really look at this development system. And shit, if we got to do it ourselves, let's get to it. Let's
Absolutely.
get to
For
it.
sure. And I think a huge reason too, especially in Connecticut, with football in general, and all sports really, we think about all the guys we had coaching, and even guys that we knew that coach, they were all teachers in some sort, right? You know, most of the coaches that we had were teachers, at least in my experience,
yep.
where, you know, you had, you know, your football or basketball coach or baseball coach, you had them in the cafeteria, you know, talking to dudes like, hey, you know, you gonna come out for football this year or what? There's been a huge shift of coaching, and where they used to be teachers and coaches first, and now you have guys who, you know, kind of want to relive their glory days and kind of want to, you know, just coach to coach. But, you know, I think that there used to be a lot more teachers that were coaches, and professions in the school that used to be on the coaching staff than there are now. And I think that's a huge difference in the sense of, you know, the kids aren't, you know, going to, you know, Coach Max's gym class every day and talking to him, or they're not seeing Coach Max in the lunchroom or in the hallway, and they're just seeing, you know, an electrician that's a high school football coach coming out after work. So I think that's a big difference too, is we're touching, you know, back on coaching, is, you know, we're seeing a different type of coach now that's for the most part, you know, kind of ruining high school athletics.
Yeah.
But let's not focus on all the negatives. Shout
No,
out,
for sure not.
like I said, Impact. We're just going off Connecticut.
Yeah.
Impact and then Supreme Athlete.
Mhm.
Shabazz, if you
100%.
wanted to kind of touch on that, I know we're talking about going back to basics and doing the groundwork. That's what they stand for.
You best talk about being in the school with the kids. Like, it makes a huge difference.
So for me, if Max could be to attest to this, if anybody would have told you Shabazz Gordon would be working in a school 10 years ago, no one would tell you that what would be happening. So for me,
we got stories for days.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, I tell people, like, now as a coach, I ain't just a coach. Like, I'm a coach, father figure. I got to be a role model for the kids. You got to be there for when dealing with stuff that they don't know what to do. And that's from all aspects of, especially for my football players. I know I've dealt with from first girlfriend stuff, asking them to prom stuff, like every aspect. Like, coach, I'm having this issue with my parents, or coach, you know, like, and then it can get to the part where it's like a kid might be in a fucked up situation, and you got to step up to, you know, be that person that you know, you didn't sign up for, but it's what needs to happen for that kid. And I think for me, like, Max knows, like, youth development is like literally like something I'm so huge on. Like, I've never had a job that hasn't been with the youth. Like, from the time I was 16, I was doing summer camp, after school programs. I worked in residential homes. I've worked in, now for, this is my 5th year. I started off as a para. I moved up to associate instructor. And then this year, starting this school year, I'll be a behavior technician. So I've dealt with all facets. Awesome. And from, you know, special education to being the actual instructor of a classroom, where you have to not only portray the information, but make sure the way you teaching it is making it click.
I think at the end of the day, I mean, Shabazz touched on the youth development. I mean, for lack of better words, I really love it.
It sounds special.
The impact that you can have on a young person,
It's not worth no money value. Like there's no money value that can make, when a kid tells you, coach, man, I really appreciate everything. Like that stuff doesn't come with like
100%.
Right. It hits different when you hear it. You don't think of it as you're doing, and sometimes it doesn't even feel like the work.
It doesn't feel
like
exactly.
At the end of matter of fact, forget that. At the beginning of the day, these kids are kids. Some of them don't even. We have to understand in the positions they're in and the populations that we work with. I know down here in the population that I have in Miami, it's like I feel like some adults don't understand what these kids are really going through.
Absolutely.
Baz talked about the real shit that they have to deal with. And just being honest, like they're dealing with stuff that I didn't even think about.
Like perfect example to interject on what Max is saying. This is a big thing. Like I remember being in school, like I was my mom gave me a cell phone when I was in 4th grade. I don't know why, right? Like I don't know what, like I didn't.
Was it a Razor? Or
no, my first phone was a Nokia green screen. My third phone was the Razor. My third
Razor. All right, respect to the Razor, man. That was.
I have Razor sidekicks, all that. Like
yeah.
To now where every kid has a cell phone all day long in their pocket, buzzing, Snapchat, and it's interrupting their school learning. And that's just the school part. But then it's the aspect of how much things are started from these phones. Like you can start anything. And I know from just me being in high school, like I'm glad we didn't have a camera on everything we did. Like
I was having a part of this youth development is kind of having these real discussions, but in my eyes, not giving too much, but staying on that line to be real, right?
Yeah.
What I said, I feel like is just kind of knowing the people that we had. If I'm happy that there wasn't the Instagram and the Twitter. I mean, Twitter came on kind of late, but if in high school, if we had Instagram, there would have been so much more trouble for the people that we went to school with. And it's just like goes back to our point of these kids. Not even these kids feel like they have to grow up too fast.
Absolutely.
It kind of hit me a few weeks ago when I was having a conversation about social media, and I can't remember how old this kid was, but he told me that he had an Instagram. Obviously, we have Instagrams, and it's just like, yo, like if my profile wasn't on private, you could see me on this app. Like you don't need to be seeing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In middle school, like,
and to that point, like me, where like I remember I was young, like I didn't care about what I posted. Like I'm gonna post whatever I want. But now we're at the age where I'll be at a young age. Had to know this because I got a coach. I'm a coach. Kids see me, parents see me. Like I can't just be like, I can't be like a wild Bill. Go get drunk at the bar. Like I might see one of my parents. And that to me is your image as a role model is so important because you don't want to be out here giving the kids a message and then you can't really stand on it. Like now don't get me wrong, everybody's gonna do what you're gonna do in your own home. That's fine. But you don't need to be, especially when you're a public figure, like these college coaches that's getting DUIs, like, come on, dude. Like, what do you think is gonna it's not Ken Smith get a DUI, it's Alabama football coach get a DUI. Like that's how you gotta look at it. When you have certain titles as a role model, like you gotta stand for something more than just living life for yourself.
And to kind of go back to like, the LSG, I don't want to say motto, but kind of like, kind of why you guys started this whole thing is, some viewers may not know this, but I mean, like Max and Baz, like they do what they love, but they also do what they do for money. So there's not many people in this world that do what they do for money, but also do what they do for just because they love it. So I think that, youth development and, me appreciating it more than ever having a kid. There's not enough people like Max and Shabazz out here. So, I think big ups to you guys. And then, we touch upon like, what Chris is doing, and all these guys are doing that are kind of overlooked. But, there's not enough dudes like you guys out there. And I give you guys, so much
100%.
props for that. And I think, back to like what my dad always, told me growing up, like when I was playing sports, is you have like, as a male, you have two people in your lives. You have dad and you have coach.
Yep.
Like those are the two dudes that, you kind of want to model after, kind of look up to, is, whether or not you have a father or had a father, you have someone that you knew or that you look up to, and you have coach. You have your dude.
And I think funny that you say that, because my guy that I look to, like, I didn't have my father, so Max's dad was always who I looked to as. He was the commissioner of BYBL. He was always at Max's game. And then when me and Max became friends, I would go talk to him like, hey, this is shit. He's my dad. Like, like after a game, like me and Max go over there. We talk, like, that is something that is embedded in me and Max, especially for us, because in our town, we grew up through youth development settings of summer camp, going to summer camp with all the kids in your town and performing all day. And then, like you said, the coach, like, I know my coach was instrumental in my growth as a person because of how good I wanted to be as a football player. So he was the person to tell me, like, you can be the best football player ever, but if you as a human is not the best, your talent would never succeed your humanitarian acts. So that's something that I'm big on, and make sure I tell all my players, like, and like Max said, you gotta straddle the line of being real. Like, you gotta tell them, like, you can't tell them all the good parts of your life. Oh, I'm a college graduate, and then when they get in trouble, you can't be like, man, I've never been in your, like, you gotta be real and tell them how, what really happens in the real world, and keep it.
I mean, a lot of kids just need somebody there for them. We talk about the population that we work with, and they never really had anybody in their corner. They go home, they don't talk to people at the house. Exactly. You're their person. Like, you're the of the day. So,
and like, for that, like Max said, like, a lot of these kids are not going home, and like, it's not how it used to be. Like, go sit at the table and everybody eating dinner. How's your day? Like, I got kids that's like, hey, I don't. Until the weekend, I'm not gonna see my mom at night because she's working. Like,
right.
And that's, so then they're coming to you, like, and this is the funniest thing, like, and it's the best thing that.
And those parents, before you say your point, and those parents are putting their trust in you.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm piggyback off of that. I have a mentee group, right? Hilarious. I'm this big buff football player dude, and my mentorship group is 4 girls.
You say buff?
I can.
My bad. I thought you said fluff.
Hey, I can guarantee you I can still run very fast, and I do.
Probably whoop my ass too, so I'm gonna shut the fuck up right now. Here we go.
My mentor group is 4 girls, and I think they're part of the biggest maturation I had to make, because it's easy to be a role model for a guy. I'm a guy. I know what God, but now you got these 4 young women who are looking for a person to still guide them. They don't care that you're a male. They want, boyfriend has a issue, they're asking you, and you're like, but it's just to show you the maturation of, like, if you're a good human, people are gonna gravitate towards you. And like Max said, I've had their parents like, yo, you don't understand how big you are for my child, like, you make it easier on me. And it's like, shit, well, damn, like, and they're like, you don't have any, you don't have kids of your own yet? And I'm like, no, not yet. They're like, man, you're gonna be great at it. And that's like, everything I do is from, like, I had mom, grandparents. That was what I was built off. So like, I want to be the best role model, and I know, like, I'll probably be LeVar Ball when I have kids. Like, it's probably gonna happen, but I'm gonna be And
I can't wait for that shit, man. That shit
I'ma
is
be there.
entertainment.
So I don't want to like cut you off on that, but I think that this is something, especially as we're filming this right now. I think this is something, and these are different areas that in the future we should touch on more, because everyone can talk about the NBA matchups, and everyone can talk about who their top 5 are, who their top 3 are, but I think that this is the stuff that people can like truly relate to, and the subject matters that people like really truly care about. And going back to when Max and I played at Springfield College, we had 2 coaches, one of them being Mike DeLong and Mike Sirachula especially, touched on becoming not men, because that's kind of like the cliche, like, oh yeah, we got boys, we're gonna become men. Both of them touched upon becoming better people, and giving back, and leading the community that you're a part of. So I think that what you're doing and what Max is doing is something that kind of needs to be talked about a little bit more, versus the Lakers Portland series. So I think that there's a lot of stuff that's in the mix, and things that people need to be aware of. And I think that you guys are doing an absolutely phenomenal job, and big ups to you guys in that. So
real fast before we go, Shabazz touched on BYBL, and looking back on BYBL, and I mean my when I was coming up, my father was the commissioner of the league.
An OG, bro. Oh, fucking G.
I think, and just, I mean, talking to him over the years, it was like a lot of stuff going on, and for him to take on that role it's even, the more and more I think about it, it's just impressive. But I think that experience and being there every weekend,
it was
all the practices, and
it was special.
I think not only special, but it has and will shape my life. Like I want to kind of be in that role. Like,
I'll say this: I never ever wanted to run a league, but now I do. I run a adult flag football league, and I can say like Max's dad was like the only guy that I've ever seen like run a league, and it was like so beneficial for the community. Like
they were, listen. Shout out Ricky Jones, my guy Khalid, family. Shit, man, there's so many Bloomfield names that I can just run off. Tony,
absolutely.
Mike Davis,
big OGs.
Selden, who else? Just the town of Bloomfield, man. Bloomfield is really a special place. I mean, I'll be back soon, but it just kind of shaped some of the viewpoints,
morale and stuff you stand on. Yeah.
Right. And I think moving forward, we just got to keep doing the work, man. We can do this talking, but
the work's never done. That's what it is. It's something I tell my players, who cares, work harder. That's it. Like right. No one cares about if you're gonna talk about, you gotta do the work. You gotta put in the legwork, and that's not just that's in everything you do in life. Like, yeah, everybody wants to talk, but you gotta actually put the legwork in to get something done. And that's the message that I would share with any young person. Who cares, work harder. It might feel like, man, keep going. I promise you it gets better.
And touching on, really quick, and then we'll move to the NFL rundown before we end it. But no jokes aside, like all serious conversation, one of my buddies just bought a house in Wethersfield, and he was like, yeah, I love this town. I'm like, what do you love about it? He's like, oh, the youth sports and what they do for the youth is great. He's like, you don't agree? I'm like, yeah, they're doing good stuff. And he's like, why? Where do you think is better? I'm like, dude, to be honest with you, I was like, and I named Bloomfield in my top 3. I said there's 3 towns locally that in Connecticut, if you're listening from Connecticut, there's 3 towns locally doing great things with youth sports and youth activities in general. One of them being Bloomfield. I have a soft heart for Farmington just because I live here, and my sister-in-law has Down syndrome, and her the special ed and Special Olympics stuff in
Shout out
Farmington
Special Olympics.
is Avon and Farmington. I mean, you can't beat that in terms of the Special Olympics stuff. But they were in my top 2, and he's like, really? I was like, dude, I'm telling you, bro. So I think that I'm gonna I may sound a little ignorant right now, but I think that if you were to have a child, if I were to have a child raising in youth sports, Bloomfield's definitely one of the best places in terms of, being a part, no matter what sport you play, in my opinion. And this is just me living close by, looking from the outside in. There's more options, there's more camps, there's more opportunities to play and do what you want in Bloomfield and other towns. And I think that this goes back to my original point on how ignorant America is in Connecticut in general, where people hear the town Bloomfield and they immediately think black, and they immediately think that's a fucking shitty ass town, that's a shitty ass city. I would never fucking bring my kids in Bloomfield. When in the matter of fact, they're doing more and better things than where you live in Suburbiaville. You know what I mean? So we'll have some more topics of conversation on this, but I think it's something that definitely needs to be talked about. And the level of, not disrespect, but the level of I don't know. I don't know what to say in terms of people like kind of look away from Bloomfield in that sense. So that's just my personal opinion. You guys live there, and Baz lives there right now, but I think that people look away from that in terms of youth sports and youth opportunities. But all right, last but not least, transitioning, NFL rundown. Let me go last on this because I'm about to rip the Patriots in half. I'm about to take them and fucking flush them down the toilet. So Max is sitting there quiet. We're going to let Max go first on the NFL rundown. What do you think about this season?
I mean, I've been following a few teams as they go through training camp. Obviously,
let's be real. You've been following the teams with Buckeyes. Let's not say you've been following something.
Max has a fucking USA map in his bedroom, right? He's got Carmelo Anthony to the left, Carmelo Anthony to the right. He's got a USA map in the middle, and he's got fucking Ohio State Buckeye markings right across the U.S. And that's who he follows.
You know what the funny thing about that joke? I literally was going to say that. Like, not the mellow part, but I mean, yeah.
Like all your favorite guys, they're Buckeyes, so you follow them. You follow and see what they do.
Yeah.
I respect it.
My guys from Ezekiel Elliott, that's my guy.
Yeah, he's got Terrell Pryor right next to the toilet.
Don't do that.
Right where he belongs.
I don't even know what Terrell is. I'm sorry. Terrell Pryor. What a name from Ohio State. That's a whole different topic.
So what do you think? What do you think? What do you got?
I mean, you got so the NFL to me this year. I mean, there's a few favorites. It's still kind of up in the air how it's going to play out. I don't know if there's going to be fans. If there is, I don't know what the percentage of the stadium is going to be filled.
20%.
So that's something that has to be. Say it again. 30.
20% is what I'm hearing the number is going to be.
20%.
Yeah, I'm hearing around 8,000 to 10,000 fans per attendance.
Okay, so I mean, we have to factor that in. That's going to be pretty interesting. I mean, these players are used to. I mean, they're pro athletes, so they'll make an adjustment, but they'll kind of have to figure that out from there. I mean, we have your top teams, but I mean, like you guys said, I am following Buckeyes. So,
of course you are.
Seeing my guy Chase getting to it out there in Washington.
I don't want.
What are they called? Just Washington?
The Washington football team.
Football team.
Nice.
So I just want to say Chase Young is going to look really good in that front seven because he's surrounded by a lot of Alabama players. But continue.
I'm not denying that.
It's true. It's the truth.
He's going to do his thing.
It's the truth.
I've been actually, I mean, away from like all jokes aside, I've been kind of focusing my attention towards Baltimore. I'm trying to get a sense of Lamar Jackson. I really want to see his development. I mean, Lamar Jackson winning the MVP award last year. If we're having a real discussion about Lamar Jackson, he has improved literally every season since I think the year before he's won the Heisman at Louisville.
And I'm not going to talk long, but I've never seen the level of disrespect an MVP player has had than Lamar Jackson. I can't think of one. I really can't. He can't throw the ball. He's not going to win. He can't sit in the pocket. He can't read defense. I've never seen the level of disrespect.
I didn't get it. I never ever once got the slander on Lamar Jackson. I literally watched him take a Louisville team,
a basketball school. Let's point that out.
And put him at the top of the ACC. And I'll never forget.
When he outdueled, what's his name?
Who?
Did they beat Clemson?
Yeah, no, I don't know if they didn't beat Clemson, but it was a good game with Deshaun Watson.
It
was.
No.
But the game that sticks out for me was his Florida State game. Like I had never ever seen like it was like electrifying to see like he plays in a different gear. Like he's a different speed. Like,
we get one of those guys every few decades.
No, right? Like he's Michael Vick, but he's like
way better thrower. Way
better. Yeah. And even Michael Vick has attested like Lamar Jackson is way better than that was. Like and people
and Michael Vick kind of and this is what people forget about Michael Vick. First thing I think about is the whole dog thing. But he kind of paved the roadway for guys like Lamar Jackson. He paved the roadway for guys that can come in a league and can be a dual threat, even though that, Mike wasn't that great of a thrower. But, without Michael Vick, I don't know if there's a Lamar Jackson. I really don't. I think, without a Michael Vick, Lamar's playing slot. He's playing, safety, corner. So
Michael Vick
respect to Mike Vick, man.
Michael Vick experience showed it changed how football was viewed.
For sure.
Or you would never put your best athlete at the QB before Michael Vick. They'd go play a receiver, DB, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Michael Vick was that first player where it showed at the high school level, college level, that your best athlete could be at your quarterback.
So the reason why I've been focusing on Baltimore as I have Kansas City as well. It's just that I really believe for the next decade,
that's the new Brady. That's the new Brady.
Brady Manning. Yeah. The AFC champion will come through one of those two franchises. I think they're both built to win, and it's gonna be back and forth. Yep. It just so happens that Mahomes got his
guy that's like right below knocking on that door to get in that club, Deshaun Watson.
And he's why that's my guy.
He's dealt with a lot too, man. He's dealt with a lot since he came to the league.
Yeah. Man, before the league, since he was a little kid, but he may be my favorite quarterback, to be honest. But back to the Ravens, I've been focused in the development of Hollywood. I think is dope. Gained 20 pounds,
23 pounds of muscle. That's big.
And if you looked at the regimen, it's believable. He did his thing. That's discipline and that's hard work. So salute to him. I think they've really bought into the culture there in Baltimore, which is going to bring us to our point. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I need to know more about the situation, but Earl Thomas, I think today early this morning, he got released.
Yeah, yesterday morning he was released.
He was released. So
this was after an argument with Chuck Clark, but I'm hearing that
for me, this has to be a buildup. Once you establish a culture as a football team, and you have somebody, we have to keep in mind, Earl Thomas is still a great football player. He's a Hall of Famer. He's not washed by any means.
Yeah.
So for the Ravens to go ahead and release him, I got to hear some more information.
So I'm thinking, you got to remember he had the situation with his wife.
Right.
I'm hearing that inside the building that he might not, he's an outspoken player. He came from playing with Pete Carroll. And, Pete Carroll, and this is a young, influenceable football team. And I think the Ravens understand, like, it's a critical point in their juncture, like, we can't have one of our leaders look, like you got to be, especially an older guy at that. Like our quarterback's 24 years old and he has no trouble at all. How are we going to have our how is our veteran safety going to be, getting in arguments to a point where it's gonna be a fight, and like you gotta be, like you said,
Mhm.
just that growing up and understanding. Like I think Earl Thomas, and I'm gonna say this right now, he's probably gonna end up in Cleveland. Um, my guy Grant Delpit tore his Achilles today in
Oh
practice.
no.
Yeah, so I'm thinking Earl Thomas is gonna be a Cowboy or a Brown.
And I think speaking upon the Ravens, I mean, let's not forget Steve Biscotti, the owner of the Ravens, is probably one of the better NFL owners in the sense
Absolutely.
of, he's not afraid to speak his mind. He's not
Absolutely.
he's not afraid to let his players do what they want. But he has that sense of family in that organization where
Big
he's not
fan.
gonna put up with shit like
Yeah, nobody's bigger than
no one's bigger than the Ravens, bro. No, and that's the deal with Earl Thomas. And like I said, Steve Biscotti is probably one of the better NFL owners out there.
I would
But
agree with that.
they were talking when I was watching ESPN earlier, like having a conversation. Where's Earl Thomas going to go? Who needs Earl Thomas? Well, when I was watching that, I was like, why are they even having this conversation? Every NFL team would love to have Earl Thomas, right? So, I mean, you think you're going to the Browns? You think he's going to the Browns? I see that as a great fit, but I also see no matter where he goes being a great fit because
Absolutely.
there's not many guys, and I would consider him a top 3 to 5 cover safety and front line safety in the NFL right now. So, I think no matter where he goes is going to be a great fit. So, that's just my thought on Earl Thomas.
Gotcha.
But I mean, before we move on, we know um, Jerry Jones likes to play with fire. I'm pretty sure there has been, if not already, tomorrow morning there will be a phone call to Earl's people, gauging the temperature, getting a little temp check, seeing
Man,
what's up.
he might want to go home, man. He might. I can see that.
He's been saying he wanted to play with the
Yep.
Cowboys.
So it might be time now. They missed on
It might be
Jamal.
time.
It might be time to pull the trigger.
So I think that Earl Thomas is obviously the latest of discussion in the NFL, but I think that what everyone's been talking about the past couple months and been on everyone's mind is Cam Newton on the Pats and Tom Brady going down to Tampa Bay. So I think I don't know, man. I mean, ever since I've been an NFL fan, ever since I've been able to remember watching the NFL, this is probably the biggest switch, the biggest media and publicized move in our lifetime of the NFL. Even though Tom Brady is 133 years old, it doesn't matter. I think that this has been, such an incredible story, especially with Gronk coming back. But I mean, what do you guys think about? Let's touch base on the Bucks and Tom Brady and Gronk going there, and then Cam going to New England. So I'll let Baz lead with this because he's got something on his tongue.
I was hurt, Brady leaving, but that's my guy forever. That's my guy.
Yeah.
But I think when it's time, it's time. Like that last season I watched, I'm a Patriots diehard fan. Like I watched a lot of interactions, like that was a little more, it was always more documented, so like I just feel like, all right, I wasn't upset with either side, I know Belichick kind of wanted Brady to go when Garoppolo was hot. He didn't want to give up Garoppolo, and then when Kraft told him like, no, we're not doing that. We're not, because he actually, people don't know, he tried to trade Brady to the 49ers. And Robert Kraft came and executive decision like, absolutely not. So then Bill felt really upset. I'm not gonna lie. He gave away Garoppolo for a fourth round pick, like, and then they're in the Super Bowl, but I do like the Cam pickup. I think it gives us a bridge year. I think I think we're drafting a quarterback next year. I think Bill, and this is how I think it's gonna play out. Bill's gonna fade into just being front office. Josh McDaniels takes over.
Yep.
We go draft a quarterback this year, one of those three big guys, and one guy that a lot of people don't really not giving too much credit right now, but I'm gonna give you a little preview. North Dakota State quarterback, Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
He was a freshman, redshirt freshman last year. Kid is athletic, can throw the ball. That's the school of Carson Wentz, FCS program. But that goes back to your point of kids going to these smaller programs and still knowing I can still get to the league.
For sure.
And with Brady and Gronk, those are two Patriots that I love.
Yeah.
Them going down to Tampa Bay, I'm going to say this from personal experience. I'm not mad at you. Going to Tampa Bay, I just love getting off of the plane in Florida. It's just it's like you go into a whole new world. So
listen, when Max went down to Florida, 7 people really cared about it. When Brady went down to Florida, about 12 million people cared about it. Okay, so I think I mean,
so and as far as just that team is gonna be like they're nice. They ain't just like Brady went, but there's a lot of reasons why he went there. Like
there's a lot of young talent, lot of young talent.
Gronk, OJ Howard, Mike Evans, Godwin,
Yep.
Shady, Ronald Jones III, and then that's just offense. And then on defense, there's a whole bunch of young studs.
Mm-hmm.
They have one of the pickups that's very underrated for the Bucs that I love, and Ndamukong Suh. People have their thoughts about Suh. He's one of my favorite players ever. I don't just full out D tackle. That's the D tackle you wanted to be enough. That's the
gives you 110% every play.
Even the part, stomping on Aaron Rodgers, he's been there, but I think that's a good pickup for them. I think that division is gonna be fireworks. I think it's gonna be
100%.
We get Brady Breeze twice a year. Even though it's down the road and they're older, it's still
and that's what I'm saying. I mean, how many quarterback matchups has Brady had in his conference throughout his tenure? I mean, he really hasn't. I mean, he's the battles with those guys in the playoffs. Besides Eli, I mean, Brady's essentially been playing in, and I'm going to touch base on the Bills in a minute, but I mean, Brady's been playing in the weakest quarterback conference in the past decade and a half. So I think that we're finally able to see, Brady tee up against some all-time greats, which I can't wait for. But Max, what do you think?
I'm excited to see the Bucs. I am. I think Tom Brady, that hunger is still gonna exist. It's always gonna exist. I mean, we still see the clips of him breaking down, talking about getting drafted so late. And I think that
on the shoulder always.
That is always going to be embedded in his not only football DNA but the rest of his life, whatever he chooses to do after football.
Mm-hmm.
So that hunger is never going to leave. I'm excited, like Shabazz said, they were about that roster. I think we get a fresh Gronkowski. See how that works.
And let's not forget, everyone, he's only 30 years old.
He's only 30.
So he's only 30. So
he really needed the rest. If we're being honest,
for sure, dude.
And the Patriots system is a grinder, so I could
he needed that. He needed that break.
So I could see that.
I don't even if we think about the phone call that Brady put in, I don't even think he had to say too much. I think it was, "Hey, Gronk, let's I'm going down to Tampa. What do you think?" "Oh, Tampa? I'll go." Probably something like that.
He's Gronk's probably man, Tampa's a good party sound. Yeah, Brady, I'm in, Brady.
Yeah, let's do it. But I mean, all jokes aside, I mean, Mike Evans is one of my favorite receivers. We're talking about the core of the Bucs. If we go to their defense, you touched on Ndamukong Suh, Devin White, LSU linebacker. I think young player that's last season worked on making a name. I think he's really going to stamp it this season.
Shaquille Barrett led the NFL in sacks.
Shaquille Barrett. Shaquille. A lot of athletes on that side of the ball, man.
Vita Vea.
A lot of speed.
Round pick.
A lot.
What's my guy name? Murphy Bunton. He's a young corner. Hargraves. Murphy Bunting and then a pick that they drafted that's gonna be their starting safety, Antoine Winfield Jr. And it's it's like
I like the Bucks. The Patriots. The Patriots are it's a little.
Don't do that.
I don't want to piss them off. I don't want to piss them off either. I'm afraid.
No, I'm not. I'm not even gonna go that route. I just feel like, yes, I am extremely excited for Cam, but it was kind of a damper when we learned that they're having the most people sit out, and I totally understand what's going on with this virus. But there's key players that are sitting out for the Patriots.
Yep.
Hey, but you know our motto: next man up.
Next man up. So I mean, we'll see it. I think Cam Newton's really going to have an impact. I think I hope and pray that he's healthy, fully healthy. I don't know if he can get back to fully healthy, but as close to as 100 as you can get. I just want to see the old Cam, man. I just want to see the old Cam. And I was watching the interview, or not the interview, the sit down he had with Odell, Victor Cruz,
Todd Gurley.
and Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
And he was touching on it, and he was saying, "Yeah, I know I'm following the GOAT, the ghost in New England, but let's be real now. You ain't really get to open the playbook like you are." So
that's a fact.
I mean, I'm excited for Cam. I think I'm a fan of the comeback redemption story, especially when so many people have been talking down unfairly. Like you get,
and then you also gonna get a
like I'm not even healthy. It's just like
Belichick is fired up too though. Like Belichick is licking his chops. Like, oh, y'all counting me out because the guy I got.
Everybody got something to prove. Both sides. Brady.
I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. You know.
Do they meet each other in the regular season? They got to.
Who?
Bucks
I
and
don't think.
No, not in the regular season.
No.
They're not in the schedule.
That was NBA. They'd be playing, obviously. But
I mean, I have to 100% agree. I mean, especially, even when Cam was a free agent, I think that just like seeing his work ethic and what he's been putting in the past 6-8 months online has been like absolutely insane. So I've always been a Cam fan. I just don't think that this is the year, especially with everyone sitting out. I mean, I actually have, which is going to kind of sound crazy, but the Buffalo Bills is like a top 3 to 4 team in the league this year, and they're going to win that conference by at least 3 or 4 games.
Oh hell no, man! I'm sorry.
So all right, so hold on, time out. Let's take a quick TO. All right. So who's in that conference? Let's remind the viewers.
Wait, can we? Okay. Well, are we going from
Dolphins, Bills, Patriots,
Redskins?
Dolphins.
No.
Hold on.
Jets.
Hold on.
Dolphins, Bills, Jets.
Jets. I'm sorry, Jets. Good call, Max. I'm a fucking moron. Christ. I'm an absolute moron. All right, so we can essentially just take the Jets and kind of just throw them in a trash can.
Yep.
We could take the Giants and just throw them in a trash can. And so I kind of were left with, what's Tua gonna do? Not gonna carry that team to a championship in that division. So let's take Dolphins.
Real fast.
6 and 10 Dolphins or 7-9 Dolphins.
So all right. So back to my point.
Telling me they're going 500. What do you think?
Throw them in a trash can.
What happened?
I got people.
They got the Bama God over there, so anything's possible. That's what I will say. And they got Brian Flores, who's a Patriot guy, so he knows how to win. They got the right pieces,
So we threw out 3 of the 5 teams. Ready? Boom, trash can. So we're left with the Patriots and Bills. Correct? All right, let's go through the fundamentals of football. Who has a better secondary? Patriots. That's the only thing they got. Who has a better front 7 right now with everyone sitting out? The Bills. Who has a better quarterback? With the system, it's going to take Cam at least 2 years under that to learn it. I'm going to take Josh Allen all day. So we're going to take the Bills at the quarterback position. Receiving core and the actual athletes on the offense side of the football, I don't even think it's within question. The Pats have 2 young guys at tight end who are, in my opinion, not good. You have Julian Edelman, and that's about it. So everyone else in that team can kind of get thrown in a trash can.
Who does Brian sound like right now?
Who? I'm just being honest. The Pats have a better secondary. That's it.
Literally sounds like John Gruden.
I tell you what, there, man. That guy, Josh Allen, there, man. I tell you what, Buffalo, but they're throwing guys in Dables there.
I just don't believe. I like Josh Allen too. Like
They're throwing guys in Dables there, man.
I don't know. I just don't see. I don't see that. I think they're going to be in the playoffs again. I had it as a close division, 10-6, 9-7, 1-2. I just
think the Pats are missing too much, bro. I just think that they have that Cam Newton surrounded by who? No
some guy. It's Nick. Neil Harry got to show up.
Who?
Mohamed Sanu got to get healthy. We got
Sanu.
Young guy. What's my guy's name?
You don't even know your guy's name, bro. That's.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
No, I know. I'm fucking with you.
I like him.
I don't know. I
definitely think, but I just think. Listen.
This year's different than next year. Now, let me get this straight. Let me clarify for the viewers. 2020 Pats are going to be a lot different than the 2021 Pats.
With all them picks and
so I think between the draft and guys coming back after the virus, I think they're a totally different team. But this year, if you look at all the sides of the football, I mean, the Bills have a more talented and experienced team. I think now I had this conversation. I forgot with who I was talking about, but just imagine this, right? You have Drew Brees and Taysom Hill down in New Orleans and the packages that they run. Imagine the Pats if Brady signed a 1 or 2 year extension and you bring in Cam. The packages that you can run. Now you have Drew and Taysom Hill, but now you have on steroids Tom Brady and Cam Newton.
Oh yeah, that would have been insane.
It would have been. I mean, financially, obviously not going to work, but in terms of that's what I think of when I think of Hill and Breeze. That's the sense of
Brady's not running out the game for Cam Newton.
Huh?
Shit, Drew Brees ran out the game for Taysom Hill.
You think, but this is what a part of the reason why Tom Brady leave. Do you really believe that deep down in your heart, if Bill Belichick went to Tom Brady and was like, "Yo, we got this package to take you out the game," and
it would be Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels, you think?
I'm saying we ran Wildcat before, so he came off the game.
Well, yeah, but if you watch the Pats the past couple years, I mean, I'm there at least 3-4 games a year. We're season ticket holders, and that offense is totally declined, especially like talent wise around Brady. So I think that with Brady
that was a big reason of him leaving. He wasn't like it wasn't getting him the guys
for sure. But I mean, also the packages change.
I like N'Keal Harry, but you don't pick N'Keal Harry with DK Metcalf on the board or AJ Brown, and I think they both were on the board.
Yeah, they were. So I mean, with a matter of fact of that, and the fact that Brady isn't able, even though he's as nimble as my fucking couch over here, he's seen a decline the past couple years, and they've definitely been running different packages, especially in third down situations, third and short situations where, they've relied too heavily on the slot receivers and Edelman and the 5 and outs and the 7 and hitches and all that stuff, where in reality, that's not the NFL anymore. And you don't have the talent to get it done. So I think that if you get Cam in there and you give him at least a year, maybe 2 years, and you finally bring in some dudes around him, that's a fucking tough offense. But
I hope it works, man. I hope it works.
I do too, man. I love Cam. I love his work ethic, and I think I got Tampa Bay at 11-5. I think that I don't know, man. I think that Tom's a different dude. We're not going to see another Tom in our lifetime, and I mean, he's working out with dudes where the rest of the NFL is buying cars and going on vacation, and Tom is getting these dudes together, renting a house for 6-8 weeks and running routes, while the rest of the league is buying chains and watches and cars and so Tom is different. Tom Brady to me is white Kobe Bryant. I mean, Tom Brady is I want to do whatever it takes to win football games. And the Kobe Tom Brady comparison is, I'm gonna make it first. Actually, I think ESPN is gonna watch this shit and be like, oh shit, I didn't even think about that. Tom Brady is Kobe Bryant. And
they're cut from the same cloth with their work ethic. Like
for sure,
Brady's watching film, like B-Mac said, he's bringing he's not just he's like, especially for the younger guys, he's telling them like, yo, listen, there's nothing you need except workout clothes. I will pay for everything.
Yep.
This is gonna be what keeps me going. So I don't care about a financial value. I need all my guys, and like Brian said, that they rented a house for 6 to 8 weeks to live together,
to run routes and fucking hang out and play.
And play.
And I mean, if I was thinking about this, especially when I was watching ESPN, they were talking about it. Name one other superstar, one other great player in sports that has taken the pay cuts Tom Brady's taken. You can't name him. So I think that goes to show, like, you know, like, this dude is truly playing sports to win.
And it doesn't. Listen, I ain't gonna lie. Like, it doesn't help that it helps that his wife is Gisele Bundchen. And, you know,
for sure,
money doesn't mean anything, and we just out here doing what we love. And like Brady just doing what he loves, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to be the greatest. He wants to be the greatest ever. Like he wants to go down. Like, imagine the storyline of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. And like Tom Brady wins, like say Tom Brady,
it's over.
Gets through the NFC and he goes to the Super Bowl, he wins it. He needs to literally announce retirement in the press conference. Like, I'm done. Done. There's nothing else left for me to do. I'm done.
I barely got any fingers left, bro. I'm done.
This championship, if he got one in Tampa Bay,
forget about it.
I would want to hear for him how big. Like, what's the weight of this chip compared to the
It would be for him, I would say, and I'm a Patriots fan, that would probably be his biggest champion.
It would be the biggest.
It's like how LeBron has 2 rings in Miami, but everybody knows that Cleveland ring holds a little bit more weight, you know? Like,
for sure.
It's just what it is. Like, certain situations, like, for example, like KD, like, now he has to go win another chip so he can be like, I win chips. I don't care if it's in the Golden State, Brooklyn, whatever. I won a chip in Brooklyn. Like, those chips mean more. Like, their legacy. Like, for me, I knew Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady was the GOAT for me when we won the Seahawks game, because the year before I had just watched them same Seahawks dismantle Peyton Manning, who is also a top 3-5 quarterback. Like, so I knew, like, that was a thought in Brady's head, like, yo, they just dismantled Peyton Manning. I was down 10 in the fourth and come back, no matter what had to happen on both sides for that to happen.
So my thought, I don't know why I just thought about this, but kind of like, you know, webbing in the LSG motto and what we stand for. If you think about guys like LeBron and Kobe, you know, what LeBron's doing with his school in Akron and sending kids to college and giving them an opportunity to have a fair education and higher education, and what Kobe did with after he played with, you know, female sports in general, not just basketball, but soccer and just period, you know, female sports, period. You really can't, and this is kind of why the NBA gets overlooked in this aspect of, if you can name another athlete or a sports franchise or team that is doing what LeBron is doing, or doing what Kobe did, or doing what all these young guys like Chris Paul and Mel and like all these guys are doing, is the NFL is there for the NFL. And I think that Roger Goodell has made that standpoint where, you know, this is a work environment. We're here to play football. We're here to make money. Where Adam Silver's led all these guys, and you know, Kobe Bryant kind of led the pathway before him, but you know, you can't really name an NFL guy that's doing what LeBron's doing or did what Kobe did. And I think that's why, in my opinion, talking about how Brady is like Kobe, maybe mentality-wise, maybe playing-wise, but that's why Kobe is Kobe, because he did what he did on the court, and there's no one that did what he did off the court. Absolutely. And I think that's you know, something to think about in terms of comparing the NBA to the NFL.
But Kobe off the court, I think it's so sad and so tragic. I think we were getting ready to see, like, watching him off the court. Yeah. We were getting ready to see literally part 2 of Kobe.
The
Like,
best of Kobe. The best of Kobe.
Yeah.
like he was doing stuff, and he was. I remember like people asking him if he missed the game, and he was just like, "No, I'm good. I did all I could. I
Yeah.
left everything out there, and now I'm on to something else."
And it
Mhm.
was
And I'm
great to
giving
see
kids-
like those guys, like not just NFL, not just NBA players, but NFL guys going to the Mamba Academy to just
Yep.
yeah,
pick his
give it
brain,
back, man.
Yep.
just to pick his brain to get to tap into that type of greatness. So that just like,
Exactly.
you know, that's something
Exactly
for us
my
to
point.
go in and lead.
Kobe has kids in the league, man.
Yeah, like they're guys like that's their MJ, like you know, like Tatum and those young guys. They said
Kyrie,
that's my that's my MJ. Like
Kawhi.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, like
You're right.
Kawhi even went out there to, and I don't know if people see it or not, but the maturation of Kawhi's
Oh.
game has been in the
Oh, yeah.
mid-range scoring.
100%.
And where did he go to get that?
That triple threat work that he gives people,
Yep.
man.
Like I seen Kawhi the other night watching the game. I seen him do the 1-2 Tim Hardaway dribble, and I'm like, bro, I ain't never even see you do a crossover in San Antonio. Like, but that's just the maturation of the tap into the greatness you want to get to. And it's like we talked about earlier, it's just about putting the work in. No matter what
Mhm.
you're doing, where and what aspect of your life, you got to put the work in.
Thanks.
100%. And I think Kobe's probably the best player and the best person that we can end on. I mean,
Absolutely.
if anyone can emulate Kobe, whether you're an NFL, NBA player, or you're an electrician or an executive and a CEO, I think Kobe Bryant's embodies it
mentality.
100%. And I think what he did, like I was saying, what he did off the court gets so overlooked, especially, you know, for all the Kobe fans. You know, after he passed away, everyone kind of talked about it, but you know, he was doing this stuff for years before he passed away. So
Untalked upon.
you know, untalked about. So I think that
he would never ask for the spotlight.
Ever.
He
Ever.
wouldn't ask for the spotlight.
Never.
There was people that had to speak up, and I saw a video. I think
Kyrie's video to Kobe was touching. The Dare Kobe video he had was touching.
Yep.
So like, you know, like those guys, like that's a big part of them. So like I'm glad to see that they're all trying to carry on. Like I see Book wears Be Legendary on every shoe he has, because that's what Kobe that's the last thing Kobe said to him. Be legendary. That's something that we talk about here with Legendary Sports. Like, be legendary. Everything you do is, you know, you want to put your legendary foot forward. You know?
And here's what's kind of crazy. So my father's been like an executive in the insurance world for decades now, but they've had two people that have spoken that they've hired to speak to the top level executives throughout his tenure there. And the two people are Michael Jordan, spoke to them in the late 90s before he won the 98 championship. And then they had Kobe Bryant speak in 2014, 2015.
Yep.
So those two guys, and my dad was talking about it, he's like, we never once thought about having anyone else besides Kobe and MJ come and talk to our team so you'll never hear about an NFL guy or a current NFL or MLB player or a golfer come and talk to an organization like, you know, your MJs and Kobe's, because they don't exist. So
and
the
both
NBA,
and both those guys have been speakers for Nick Saban for Alabama football.
Correct.
Both of those, and like you said, you don't get that. That does, like, we're talking about just so much greatness that people just want the greatness in whatever they're doing. Like your dad was insurance exec. We're talking about college football. Like Kobe seeds of Mamba mentality are planted far beyond sports, and that's what is so great with his loss in our world, is that he was great outside of just sports.
And I think a big part of that is NBA players, and this is just kind of, you know, just by reading everyone's books and kind of learning everything, is NBA players have a tougher upbringing than most sports. And I think that, you know, it kind of goes into the culture of, you know, the Black communities with, you know, single parenthood and, you know, growing up in communities that, you know, you don't know if you're going to have dinner tonight. You don't know if you're going to be able to make it to school tomorrow. So those guys that are playing in the NBA have a different outlook on life, and you know that kind of breeds your Kobe's and your LeBrons and your MJ's, where your other sports, you know, I'm not necessarily saying that people don't have it tough, but the NBA world,
It's
like
just
these dudes have a different, man. These dudes have a different mentality.
it's just a different level that they can tap into, because like
Yep.
if you haven't touched that or experienced that struggle, it's like they're able to go farther. Like
For sure.
Kobe has so many different levels that he can get to.
Yep.
Shit, LeBron too. Honestly, LeBron
Yeah, I
had
mean, you
one
want to talk
of
about a
the
dude
greatest.
that lived in a playground for years. I mean, him and his mom lived in a slide.
Listen,
So
man,
And
I
to where he is today, where
I, I still go back and watch LeBron's series against Golden State when him and Kyrie were going at him.
yep.
That game, what was it? Game 5, game 6,
41,
and game 7.
41, the double 41s that was a different type of game right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's certain games that LeBron has that I go watch just as a fan, like Game 6 in Boston. Like
He's operating at that point.
I ain't gonna lie, I watched Game 6 in Boston. I had, for example, yesterday I had my first week of flag league play, so I went and watched Game 6. So we were playing a team that we was playing in the playoffs last year, and we got into a little issue. So I had to put on something to get me in the mode to just.
You gotta get into those spaces, man. You got to.
Yeah,
you have to.
And we, it's back at the field. We won our last championship together, Max. So I had to, show up.
Man, I missed that shit.
But I mean, going back in the NBA thing. I mean, these dudes are just different, bro. I mean, I just think that, not even talking about just Kobe, Michael, and LeBron, but NBA players are doing more for their communities. NBA players are speaking up more. And yeah, some of it's Adam Silver, but like I said, I think it's the way they were brought up. And a good book to read for everyone out there is Oprah Winfrey wrote an autobiography called Own It. And Oprah her mom chained her, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but chained her in her backyard to like one of those, those things dogs run on, those fucking, you put a stake in the ground and shit and they run around the yard. Yeah. So Oprah's mom like put her on that for years. And her story growing up was just unbelievable. And, you go to read about figures like Oprah and Kobe and MJ and LeBron, like they weren't, daddy wasn't, like I was fortunate enough, my dad paid for my college. Like I don't have that, grit. I don't have that mentality that these people have because, ever since they were a kid, they grew up with nothing and they knew what it took just to get the simplicity of life, where they were given the opportunity to have a platform to perform and do what they do. So, that's kind of, the segue into NBA having in my eyes, the top tier in terms of having an impact on everyone.
Son, I'll add just quick, a book that I've, the book that's been, especially during this quarantine that I've been reading is, it's called The Five Bags. It's written by Maurice Eastwood. He resides in Hartford, Connecticut. He asked, funny thing is, the way we played together was we played BYBL together. The book is just a book about unlocking a more superior you. And the book is not just a book that you just read once and it's like this is a book where you read 2-3 times, you get
journal, man.
You write your notes.
Diary.
It's a whole different aspect. And I saw him and I told him, I said, yo, I need a part 2. Like that's how good that book was. And it's from he's like us, like he's our age. This is not from no bestseller, but this book was from front to back was one of the best books I ever read. So I just wanted to give him a shout out on here.
And what's it called? 5? Where will you be in 5 years from today?
No, the book is called The Five Bags. The 5 bags consist of
the 5 bags.
Spiritual, mental, financial, physical.
And where can people buy it if they want to buy it?
You can buy it off MauriceEastwood.com.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say as well as Amazon. I want to say most book selling platforms his book is on there if I'm not mistaken. But I would definitely
you can also hit him on Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook. But I'll definitely get that information and let the people know. 'Cause I definitely is a book that I
Okay,
should.
so here we go. Let me share my screen. So just to shout out Maurice, here's his website. Is my screen shared right now?
Yep, yes it is.
So MauriceEastwood.com. You can go to the shop section on his website, and then you can buy it right here. So paperback, $21.95, hardcover, etc. He's got his apparel here, but I mean, it looks like a very easy little purchase. There he is. So if you guys want to check that out, you can go to MauriceEastwood.com and then just hit the shop section, and that'll bring you right to his books.
Absolutely. So that's I would say for this episode 2 that was a great portion to end with. I would say thanks for everybody, watching, tune in. We're gonna keep growing. If you got any insight, something you might want to see spoke about here on the web series, shoot us a message on Instagram, Twitter. We're on all platforms, and we just want to keep growing as a brand and show everybody that we are sports culture.
Yeah, Max, what do you got?
Man, episode 2. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I think we're building the team. This is what I kind of envisioned, man. Just having a web series / podcast portion of it. I mean, you two are great for what you do. The rest of the team as well. Once again, I'm gonna shout them out. Marcelo, Charles. Right now we're building. And just shout out to everybody that's been supporting. Shout out to everybody that's been showing love, family, friends. My family, I already know.
Yeah.
My guy Perry. I really do appreciate it. This is something that has been hard work for a long time, and it's something that I would like to, like Shabazz said, continue to build. And it's something that could kind of branch out and just be a staple in the culture. That's why I think the We Are Sports culture line is so relevant and so important, because we're not only affecting on the field and on the court, we're trying to grow and guide people off it as well. Like today we touched on a number of topics. We only we project this stuff to go an hour long, and we're over 245 right now. But like I said, this is exactly the kind of picture that I had for it. We're gonna keep growing, we're gonna keep working, keep building, stay consistent. We're not going anywhere. We're gonna keep growing, keep doing our thing. So appreciate it. Appreciate the love and support. Thank you.
100%. And like kind of what we talked about earlier, I think that what makes LSG different than your typical sports blog or podcast is, kind of what we talked about a little bit is sports culture, but not just sports culture, just culture in general and what's going on in today's world. So I think next episode, what we're going to, having 3 different life perspectives on here and 3 different, scenarios in a day-to-day world. I think we're going to touch more upon that next episode. And, kind of like Baz and Max kind of came from Bloomfield and had their both totally different side of things. And then, having me growing up where I grew up and what I grew up with and how that affected me in sports and how that affected me in life and how it affected Max and Baz in sports and in life. Absolutely. So I think talking about that stuff is going to be more relatable and kind of more, special than your typical sports podcast where they're just giving rundowns of games. So, I think that's kind of what makes LSG special. And like I said, you're going to hear the truth and you're going to hear, honesty and not, what you typically hear when you turn on channel 28. So, I think we got some good things brewing. I think we got to two things we got to work on: shortening up the podcast a little bit, and then if anyone, I'm going to give you guys a number to
Here
call.
he goes. Here he goes.
So if anyone knows, especially if you live in the Miami area, if anyone knows of a good barber, you're going to hit up my boy Max Ford at 860-967.
Relax.
29.
Relax.
So you get the picture. Max needs to find a barber. Baz is keeping his
Hey, shout out my barber, Jaquan Prue, Tri-City Barbers, Manchester, Connecticut.
what the
One of my
Guy.
high school teammates. Best
One
barber.
of the best athletes we've ever played with.
Yes, sir.
Facts.
great seems like a great athlete, but what the fuck's he doing with that thing?
Hey, it's
Oh, the beard. He's the beard.
it's
He's
the
not
beard.
touching the spaghetti
Oh,
string.
yeah, no one's touching the locks of Black Jesus, but he handles my beard, He handles my beard.
Oh, Max is gonna have a tough time sleeping tonight.
I'm
All
gonna
right, fellas, it's been great. Wait to see you guys. Tune in next week. See me and my guys for episode 3.
Hey, lock us in, man. This is we do this Monday night, so Tuesday is our day. We're dropping. Lock us
Yep.
in.
Yep.
Let's do it.
All right.
We out.
All right, man. Fuck Ohio State. See you later.